My name is Wang Yan. I woke up to a strange sensation and realized a girl was kissing me. My last memory was falling into a moat back on Earth, but I quickly realized I wasn't home anymore. The girl who saved me had real fox ears and a tail, which was definitely not cosplay. As I regained consciousness, a mechanical voice in my head informed me that I had reincarnated into a world called Wall Abyss and was now bound to the Universal Encyclopedia system. This system included a planting module and granted me rewards for discovering different races. By meeting this fox girl, Ingluo, I unlocked the Fox Clan entry and gained a passive skill called Blessing of the Sun, which makes me stronger and faster in sunlight. Ingluo insisted on taking me to her village because they need men to grow stronger. Although I was hesitant at first, the system explained that this world is a massive vertical wall where dangerous monsters emerge at night. Realizing I wouldn't survive alone on the cliffs, I decided to follow her. She led me to a hidden home on a cliffside where I met her sisters, who are all different types of beast folk. I met Zhuohua, a kind salamander girl who acts as the leader, a mouse girl named Jiji, a cat girl named Huaiyue, and a cold snake girl named Yoli. By interacting with them, I unlocked more entries in my system and gained useful skills like night vision and rapid clotting. Zhuohua invited me to stay with them, and I gratefully accepted. Life here is simple but safe. I discovered that my planting module allows me to grow food at incredible speeds, which will be essential for our survival. I also found a store and a prize draw feature in my system, which gave me helpful items like a Swiss Army knife and salt. Although some of the girls are still skeptical of me, I am determined to use my unique powers to help this small family thrive in this dangerous new world. I followed Ingluo along a treacherous mountain path, with a high wall on one side and a deep drop on the other. Eventually, we reached what looked like a dead end, but she led me through a tiny, hidden gap in the rock. On the other side was a small courtyard and a cave where her family lived. As soon as we arrived, I was swamped by more beast-eared girls. There was Jiji, a small girl from the mouse tribe, and Huaiyue, a graceful cat girl. Then I met Zhuohua, who seemed to be the leader. Unlike the others, she had pink hair and strange, soft horns. My system identified her as part of the salamander tribe. She was very kind and apologized for Ingluo's bluntness. Inside the cave, I also saw Yoli, a sharp-looking snake girl who clearly didn't trust me. I decided to be honest with Zhuohua and explain that I came from another world. While the younger girls were confused or suspicious, Zhuohua believed me. She noticed my fine clothes and realized I had nowhere else to go, so she invited me to stay for dinner and spend the night. While the girls prepared a simple meal of roasted potatoes, I noticed some of their food had sprouted and gone bad. This gave me a chance to test my planting module. I took a spoiled potato and realized I could use the system to grow crops 100 times faster than normal. This meant I could provide an endless supply of food for the group. By observing each girl, I unlocked their profiles in my system: Jiji the mouse, Huaiyue the cat, and Yoli the snake. Each new entry gave me passive skills and unlocked new items in a special shop, like canned beef and tools. I even gained a fast clotting skill from Zhuohua. Although I am still figuring out how to earn points for the more expensive shop items, I feel much more confident about surviving here. I have a roof over my head and a way to help these girls who took me in. By unlocking the Beast Girl profiles, I have gained several practical passive abilities. I now have night vision, increased agility, and the gift of efficient sleep, which lets me fully recharge in just 5 hours. Most impressively, I inherited a blood-clotting skill from Zhuohua, the salamander girl, which allows me to stop bleeding instantly. The system shop also updated with useful items like cotton seeds and iron pots, and even red bricks for building. Dinner was a simple meal of roasted potatoes and dried meat. Despite the lack of seasoning and the meat's strong smell, it was satisfying. Afterward, I watched the girls wash up and relax by the cliffside under the rising moon. The scene was beautiful and peaceful, though it felt surreal to think I was truly in another world. I realized that my growth here depends on meeting more Beast Girl tribes to expand my collection of skills and items. While I was lost in thought, Zhuohua approached me. I was surprised to learn that even though she looks like a young woman, she is actually 54 years old, a long lifespan typical of her species. She spoke to me with incredible kindness and offered me a place to stay with them permanently. She explained that the cliffs are dangerous at night due to climbing monsters and that I would be safer with her family. Her offer made my heart race. She promised to take care of me, seeing me as a valuable addition to their small group. I accepted her invitation without hesitation, as I have nowhere else to go. Although the snake girl, Yoli, still seems to dislike me, Joao assured me that the others would eventually accept me. When we shared the news with the rest of the group, most of the girls were excited. Gigi was thrilled to finally have a man in the family, declaring that we were now a real tribe. Even Ingluo, despite being a bit annoyed with me earlier, seemed happy to have me stay. It feels like the start of a new life, and I am eager to see how our little community will grow. I have officially settled into my new life in the cave. Since Yoli stays awake at night to guard us against wild beasts, I was able to use her bed. Thanks to the night vision ability I gained from her, the pitch-black cave is perfectly clear to me. However, the summer heat was unbearable. I tossed and turned on the dry grass bedding until I finally had to take off my shirt just to cool down. As I tried to rest, Ingluo moved close and put her arm around me. She whispered something about training, which made my heart race. I soon realized she was being quite literal in her own innocent way. She explained that Joao told her sleeping together was training to have a baby. She fell asleep quickly, but between the heat and her closeness, I couldn't sleep at all. Eventually, I carefully moved her arm and stepped outside for some fresh air. Outside, I ran into Yoli. She watched me with cold, suspicious eyes, and my system even showed her favorability toward me dropping. The atmosphere was incredibly tense, so I sat by the campfire and focused on my system to pass the time. I checked on my crops and realized that with the time acceleration, my potatoes would be ready in less than a day. I also discovered a prize draw feature in the system store. To my surprise, the system granted me a free tin draw beginner's pack. Most of the prizes were basic supplies like summer clothes and energy drinks, but I hit the jackpot with 2 rare items: a Swiss Army knife and a full pound of refined salt. In this primitive world, these are absolute treasures. The knife is a versatile tool for survival, and salt is a luxury that is usually very expensive in the shop. This starter pack arrived at the perfect time, giving me the tools I need to be truly useful to the group. After gathering some supplies, Wang Yan's situation improved. He pulled his thoughts back, and as the wind blew, it didn't feel so hot anymore. Just as he was about to return to the cave to sleep, he saw Yuli take out a potato from somewhere and start roasting it by the campfire. The night watch was long, so a small snack was a good idea. Wang Yan looked at the bored girl sitting by the fire and thought that since they would be living under the same roof, it would be best to get along. He sat down again, took out a small bag of salt from his system storage, carefully tore it open, and poured a little onto a leaf. Yuli frowned, not understanding what Wang Yan was doing. The white grains he poured out looked strange, like sand. Just as she was wondering, Wang Yan looked at her. Holding the leaf, Wang Yan said carefully, "Here, try this. Sprinkle it on the potato, it'll taste really good." Yuli gave a short laugh and said, "You want me to eat sand?" Yuli's favorability -2 in primitive tribes, people usually got salt from animal organs. Salt was extremely rare and valuable, often in the form of large yellowish crystals. No wonder Yuli mistook refined salt for sand. She had never seen anything like it. Seeing her favorability drop again, Wang Yin sighed inwardly. Without explaining much, he dipped his finger into the salt and licked it to show her. Yuli watched curiously. Looking closely, she noticed it did look different from sand. Hesitantly, she dipped her finger in and tasted it. It was as if a spark ran through her taste buds and into her mind. The pure, salty flavor filled her mouth, and her eyes widened. Without thinking, she poured all the salt from the leaf onto the roasted potato and quickly ate it all. Yuli naturally knew what salt was. Long ago, Sister Joao had traded with a traveling merchant for a small jar of it. But that salt had tasted a bit bitter, while the one Wang Yin gave her had no bitterness at all. After swallowing a few times, Yuli wiped her mouth and quickly asked Wang Yin, "Is this salt? Why isn't it bitter at all?" Wang Yin crossed his arms proudly and explained, "This is the purest kind of salt. See, I told you I wasn't lying." Yuli lowered her head. The salty taste still lingered on her tongue. Even such a simple seasoning could make food taste so much better. She swallowed again, her thoughts drifting. Yuli's affection 7 success. The plan worked. To win someone's heart, you must first win their stomach. And that clearly worked for the Beast Girls too. Yuli's affection had risen again, which was a good start. In fact, the system had also given Wang Yin some ready-made dishes that tasted even better, but he didn't take them out yet. Everything had to be done step by step. Seeing that he had gained some favor, Wang Yin stretched lazily and got ready to return to the cave to sleep. Yingluo was curled up, covered modestly by her large tail. Under Wang Yin's night vision, he could see her clearly. "Don't look, don't look," he muttered to himself. Quietly, he crept back to bed. Though half the night had passed, with the help of his efficient sleep ability, he soon drifted off, ending his first night after crossing into this world. The next morning, Wang Yin was woken by squeaking sounds. The Beast Girls didn't usually eat breakfast, but since it was raining lightly outside, they stayed home instead of going out to work. They sat together under the shelter in the yard, weaving baskets from willow branches. Feeling a bit embarrassed for sleeping in, Wang Yin wanted to help, but he didn't know how. Zhuohua pulled him to sit beside her and patiently taught him how to weave. Though basket weaving wasn't easy, Wang Yin followed Zhuohua's instructions carefully and soon got the hang of it. As he worked, he asked, "Why are you making so many baskets? I saw plenty of empty ones in the cave already." Wang Yan's question didn't surprise Zhuohua. She patiently explained, "Every year, just before winter and again in early spring, traveling merchants visit the tribes to trade. We usually prepare dried fruits in advance to exchange for food to get through the winter. But dried fruits alone aren't enough, so when we have free time, we weave baskets. One basket can be traded for 10 potatoes. Wang Yin suddenly understood. That explained everything that had seemed strange before. No wonder these young Beast Girls didn't seem like the type who could make pottery or neatly cut wooden bowls. For people like us at the bottom, the soil under our feet is only a thin layer. It's fine for growing trees and weeds, but growing crops is very hard. We don't catch much game either, so we mostly rely on trading with merchants for food. You could say our families survive thanks to their help." Zhuohua felt that Wang Yan's knowledge and understanding were greater than hers, so she naturally spoke more openly. Wang Yan listened carefully and fell into thought. So, before winter, merchants would come to buy whatever goods the young Beast Girls could offer, helping them prepare for the food shortage in the cold season. That made sense now. But tonight, he could take out the potatoes stored in the warehouse and share them with everyone. If the harvest was 10 times larger, that meant at least 20 kilograms. No more worrying about food shortages. After spending the whole day weaving baskets with the girls in the shelter, Wang Yin hadn't made much progress, and his hands were sore. Stretching his back, he focused on his farm. The potatoes were fully ripe, 20 kilograms in total, enough to last for quite a while. Each kilogram of potatoes could be exchanged for 1 point, which still felt too little. Wang Yin decided to take them all out. In a primitive society, a person's place in the group depended on how much benefit they could bring, mainly, how much food they could provide. By offering so many potatoes at once, he could surely earn respect among the young Beast Girls. After all, Wang Yin didn't plan to live on plain potatoes every day. With the system's help, he wanted to live comfortably while also helping the girls have enough to eat and wear, building a small group of his own. Without respect and authority, that would be impossible. The light rain was finally easing. The clouds were tinted red, and the sea of clouds looked gray and misty. There was no sign of the cloud whales. Only a few gusts of wind stirred up waves among the clouds. Wang Yin didn't waste any time. He saw that the young Beast Girls were already preparing dinner, and Yuli had just woken up. Acting mysteriously, he called everyone together, leaving them all a bit confused. Huaiwe, looking impatient, flicked her black cat tail. "What is it? Can't you see I'm cooking, meow?" Gigi was already chewing on a piece of dried meat and mumbled with her mouth full. "You called us together, choo-choo. What do you want to say, choo-choo?" Without another word, Wang Yin waved his hand, and suddenly, 20 kilograms of shiny, plump potatoes appeared right in front of him. The sudden pile of potatoes gleamed under the light. For a moment, the Beast Girls thought they were seeing things and just stood there, stunned. Zhuohua rubbed her eyes, her throat a little dry. After confirming she wasn't imagining it, she turned to her sisters, who were all equally shocked. Finally, she asked in disbelief, "Where did all these come from?" Breaking the silence, Wang Yin touched his nose proudly. "This is my special ability. I can create food out of thin air. And this isn't all. I can make more later. Create food. Ingluo's eyes widened as she muttered to herself. She had never imagined anyone could make food appear from nothing. It was unbelievable. Unlike her younger sisters, Zhuohua fell into deep thought after hearing his explanation. Creating food from nothing. She had never heard of such a power, not even decades ago when she lived among the upper ranks. Every beastkin could awaken some kind of ability, but none she knew could produce food directly. Judging by Wang Yan's calm expression, it didn't even seem to be his limit. Since she couldn't explain it otherwise, she decided to accept his strange ability as part of his identity as a person from another world. Maybe people from other worlds really did carry a bit of mystery with them. I didn't expect you to have such an ability. Zhuohua had seen much of the world. Although Wang Yan's ability was a bit unbelievable, she quickly accepted the situation. She looked deeply at him, then clapped her hands. Zhuohua's affection 10 all right. Ingluo, Gigi, let's each take some and move all these potatoes inside. Huaiwa, pick a few more, we'll roast extra tonight. She then directed her dazed younger sisters to carry the potatoes into the house, and everyone began to move. Wang Yan didn't realize that his actions had completely changed Zhuohua's thoughts. The ability to create food from nothing was like having a hen that laid golden eggs. Even if he wanted to leave now, Zhuohua would never let him go. At dinner, Wang Yan took out some salt and shared it with the little beast girls. Except for Yoli, each of them grew 5 points fonder of him. Their relationship improved, making it easier for him to learn more about them later. As she tasted the salty flavor, Zhuohua looked at the clouds resting on the cliff and suddenly said, "Autumn is almost here." Hearing that, little Gigi, her cheeks puffed with food, frowned. It's time to prepare for winter again. I really don't like winter. Wang Yan quickly caught the meaning and asked, "Is winter in Changyuan very cold?" Meow Meow crossed her arms and sighed. "When autumn comes, everyone has to hurry to store food, Meow. We can't trade enough with merchants, and when winter arrives, even sticking your head outside will freeze your ears off, Meow." It made sense. On such steep cliffs with no shelter from the wind, the cold must be extreme. Thinking of this, Wang Yan said firmly, "Don't worry. I'll make sure everyone has enough food. With me here, no one will have to worry about going hungry again." Hearing this, Zhuohua finally felt relieved. Still, she knew she needed to find a reason to keep him here for good. That would be the safest plan. After a rain, the cave air that night was cooler and more comfortable than before. But Ingluo was still a bit troublesome. She clung to him tightly, insisting on learning more from him, leaving him feeling warm and dizzy. Ingluo clung to Wang Yan like a koala holding a tree, her smooth legs wrapped around his waist. A bit of drool hung from the corner of her mouth as she let out a soft snore. With a faint look of annoyance, Wang Yan gently moved her aside and got up to get some fresh air. Being used as a pillow every night was really getting on his nerves. Hearing movement at the cave entrance, Yuli lifted her eyes slightly, then looked away, focusing on sharpening the tip of her spear with a stone. The crackling fire cast a dark red glow on her face, making her look both calm and striking. Sitting down slowly, Wang Yan noticed the temperature had dropped compared to the day before. He had already gone through every function of the system, and now, bored, he rested his chin on his hand, staring at the sky above the cliff. The moon was bright. Yuli didn't speak to him, and the moon here looked no different from the one on Earth. Wang Yan gazed blankly at it, lost in thought. Suddenly, a foul smell reached his nose. At first, he thought he was imagining it, but the stench grew stronger, sharp enough to make him frown. He stood up, only to see that Yoli was already on her feet, gripping her spear tightly. Her snake-like eyes gleamed coldly, filled with danger. "Go back into the cave," she said calmly, scanning the surroundings. Wang Yan didn't react right away, but then it hit him. Yoli and the others took turns staying awake at night to guard against wild creatures. Judging by her stance, something was definitely coming. The stench thickened, carrying a hint of decay. 3 creatures, each over a meter tall, climbed up from the cliff. They looked vaguely human but were hairless, their pale skin stretched tight over visible ribs. Their faces were twisted, with long jaws and sharp teeth jutting out, resembling monstrous dogs. On his second night in this strange place, Wang Yin finally faced the danger that came with the darkness. Beasts that climbed the cliffs to attack. Yoli frowned slightly as she looked at the three foul-smelling dog-headed creatures before her. Usually, only one or two appeared at a time. For three to come together was rare, but still manageable. These small dog-headed creatures growled softly, bits of gravel still clinging to their claws. Before they could react, Yoli swung her spear in a wide arc, forcing them back. Get inside the cave. Their blood is poisonous. If it touches you, it'll rot your skin. Don't get in my way. Wang Yin felt uneasy as he looked at the strange, ugly creatures. He nodded quickly, knowing his own limits, and stepped back into the cave. He didn't go too deep, just crouched near the entrance, ready for anything unexpected. Yoli's tall, about 1.75 meters, and her movements were swift and powerful. Against these dog-headed monsters, she clearly had the upper hand. After a few exchanges, all three of them were covered in wounds and couldn't move forward at all. With a dull sound, one of the creatures let out a sharp cry. Yoli had changed her sweeping strike into a sudden, catching it off guard. Her spear pierced through its pale skin, and with a strong motion, she lifted it up and threw it off the cliff. Amazing! Wang Yin stared in awe. Her clean, decisive movements left no room for hesitation. It was clear that only someone with real skill could take on the role of a night guard. After taking down one, Yoli easily handled the remaining two. Her spear flashed again and again, and soon both were defeated and kicked off the cliff. The danger of the night was over. Watching everything, Wang Yin swallowed hard. If it had been him, facing those three creatures would have been a life-or-death struggle. Even with his passive agility skill that improved his dodging, he knew he couldn't have done it without getting hurt. In small settlements like the one the beast folk lived in, attacks from wild creatures usually happened only once a night. So, feeling relieved, Wang Yin returned to the cave. After experiencing such a terrifying attack, he was sure of one thing. He would never want to leave this place again. Today, Wang Yin didn't need Jiji to wake him up. Thanks to his deep sleep, even though he went to bed late, he still woke up at the same time as the young beast girls. Watching them quietly put on their clothes in the morning light was, admittedly, quite a pleasant sight for him. Yesterday, Zhuohua had guessed that autumn was coming soon. She assigned tasks to the others. Ji, Huayu, and Ying Luo were sent to gather wild fruits. As for Wang Yin, he was told to follow Zhuohua, though she didn't say what they were going to do, only that he should come along. The animal hide Zhuohua wore looked a bit tight on her small frame, and her slightly pink skin glowed softly under the sunlight. Wang Yin followed closely behind her. Fortunately, with the blessing of the sun spirit, he could move faster under the sun. Otherwise, he would have had a hard time keeping up. Sister Zhuohua, where are we going? Wang Yin asked curiously. Zhuohua smiled, her large tail curling slightly. Just follow me, and you'll see. Wang Yin didn't quite understand, but continued walking with her. They traveled a long way through the mountains, and by noon, they reached a very secluded clearing. Panting heavily, Wang Yin rested his hands on his knees. Seeing his tired look, Zhuohua smiled gently, helped him sit on a rock, and said softly, "Already tired?" Those few words instantly sparked Wang Yin's determination. He straightened his back, pretending to be full of energy. "Who said I'm tired? I'm fine." Zhuohua didn't tease him further. She stood up and walked toward a small pink tree in the clearing. It didn't look like a cherry blossom tree. Its pink crown looked more like a soft cloud floating above the trunk. Standing on tiptoe, she searched carefully among the branches. After a while, she finally plucked a small fruit, about the size of a cherry, and carefully placed it in her pocket. Then she turned to Wang Yin and said, "All right, let's go." They had walked all this way just to pick one tiny fruit. Why did she even bring him along? Zhuohua's actions were full of mystery, and Wang Yin couldn't figure out what she was really planning. Zhuohua smiled softly, her cheeks slightly flushed. She ignored Wang Yan's confused expression and said, "Earlier, when Ying Luo met you, she was actually on her way to fetch water for her family. But she accidentally left the bucket by the pond. Now they're short on water, so the two of us should go and bring some back." Following Zhuohua's lead, Wang Yin walked for several hours until they reached the same pond again. Last time, he had left in a hurry, pulled away by Ying Luo before he could take a good look. Now that he was back, he wanted to carefully check if there was anything unusual about the place. Unfortunately, the pond seemed completely ordinary, just a simple pool of water. Wang Yin couldn't help feeling a bit disappointed. If only it were a portal, he thought. Then I could travel freely between worlds. That would be amazing. Behind him, Zhuohua had already picked up the wooden bucket Ing Luo had left behind, filled it with water, and set it aside. Seeing Wang Yin leaning over the pond, she smiled slightly and popped a freshly picked cherry into her mouth. A sweet fragrance filled the air as she quietly walked up behind him and tapped his shoulder, startling him. You scared me, Zhuohua. How do you walk so quietly? Wang Yin didn't notice anything strange about her. She bent down, her soft pink hair into a ponytail, and said with a gentle smile, Do you remember what I told you before? Come on, let's practice together. A faint pink mist spread around them, making Wang Yin feel a little dizzy. Remembering what had happened with Ing Luo, he assumed Zhuohua just wanted to rest. Zhuohua, maybe not now. It's getting dark. How about later tonight? But Zhuohua didn't seem to be asking for his opinion. She simply leaned forward and gave him a sudden, gentle kiss, leaving Wang Yin completely stunned and flustered. Wait. Humans have many different branches, but overall, it's still very difficult for them to have children with beings like Zhuohua and her kind. They had to rely on some outside help for special assistance. Zhuohua and Wang Yin had traveled a long way to collect a rare fruit called the passion fruit. It wasn't a so-called love potion, but a special fruit that could greatly improve the fertility of beastkin. The fruit was extremely rare. Sometimes a tree might not even bear one. Fortunately, Zhuohua's wide knowledge allowed her to recognize it. Even among the upper ranks, this fruit was highly sought after. Well, it did have a slight energizing effect, but it was mostly used to add a bit of liveliness. As night fell, Zhuohua, exhausted and breathing heavily, rested weakly in Wang Yan's arms. Her pink hair clung to her forehead with sweat. The experience had been overwhelming for her, but it also brought her a new and indescribable sense of joy and closeness she had never felt before. More importantly, a pure and powerful energy had awakened within her, instantly pushing her spiritual salamander veins to the second level, a nearly impossible feat. Beastkin needed to awaken to unlock their special abilities. For the salamander clan, this awakening usually manifested as spiritual salamander veins, which enhanced physical strength and allowed them to absorb salamander energy from the air, somewhat like cultivation on Earth, though in essence, it was still an awakening ability. The spiritual salamander veins were divided into 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8 levels. Awakening even one was difficult, and advancing further was even harder. Zhuohua had always believed she would never reach the second level in her lifetime. But after her close connection with Wang Yin, her entire understanding of the world changed. She was certain that her breakthrough was because of Wang Yin. More precisely, because of his energy. Thinking of this, her already flushed cheeks grew even redder. Wang Yin placed his hand gently on her waist, silent for a while before speaking softly. Zhuohua, shall we go home? But I still feel a little sore. Let's rest a bit longer. Wang Yin sat up, gently brushing her long hair and holding her close. It'll be dark soon. If we go back too late, Ing Luo and the others will worry. It's my fault for not being careful. Let me carry you back. Zhuohua murmured softly, her voice as light as a mosquito's buzz, and buried her head in Wang Yan's arms. After holding her for a while, Wang Yin finally carried her on his back and left the pool. Zhuohua affection 25. He thought it would be impossible to bring the water back like this, but Wang Yin simply opened his system storage and put all 4 wooden buckets inside. This surprised Zhuohua once again. Although Wang Yin was still unfamiliar with the path, Zhuohua, resting on his back, helped him find the way. They managed to return home before the sky turned completely dark. Before they reached the narrow entrance of the house, Zhuohua said, Wang Yin, you can put me down now. It doesn't hurt that much anymore. With the regeneration ability of her kind, even serious injuries could heal quickly, let alone a small one. In truth, she had long recovered. She just wanted Wang Yin to carry her a bit longer. Wang Yin understood her meaning right away. It wouldn't look good if his younger sisters saw them like this, so he quickly put her down, and the two went home together. From that day on, Wang Yin lived a rather peaceful and pleasant life. He had settled comfortably among the young beast girls, didn't have to do any chores, and was often invited by Zhuohua to go out and explore for various reasons. Apart from the simple food and lodging, his days were quite enjoyable. One morning, as usual, the young beast girls went out to gather wild fruits and vegetables. Wang Yin stayed at home, where Zhuohua asked him to help her with some tasks that were a bit hard to describe but completely harmless. Zhuohua Affection 3, Zhuohua Affection 3, Zhuohua Affection 6, Zhuohua Affection 55. After spending several days together, Wang Yin and the salamander girl had grown very close. He had also witnessed her amazing healing ability firsthand. At first, he could still keep up with her energy, but as time went on, Zhuohua became more and more lively, until now. Zhuohua looked down at him with a bright smile, her salamander tail swaying happily, her face glowing with warmth. "Are you tired already?" she teased. Wang Yin sighed inwardly. Being pulled into her energetic games early in the morning was one thing, but keeping up every day was another matter entirely. At first, Zhuohua really seemed addicted to it. In the beginning, Wang Yin could vaguely feel that playing ranked games together was just her way of keeping him around. But gradually, it turned into pure excitement from the competition. A sharp scream came from the cave entrance. The familiar voice made Wang Yin freeze, cold sweat running down his back. He stiffly turned his head toward the entrance and saw a pair of round, chestnut-colored ears. His heart sank instantly. The little mouse girl's eyes turned red with worry. She clenched her tiny fists and ran over, shouting, "Stop fighting, Wang Yin." Ji quickly pulled Wang Yin aside and hugged Zhuohua, tears welling up in her eyes. "If there's something wrong, talk it out. How could you hit Sister Zhuohua?" Wang Yin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Feeling awkward, he hurriedly grabbed his clothes and stammered, I was just playing around with your sister Zhuohua." "You're lying," Ji said, shielding her sister. Luckily, she was a mouse girl. If she were a cat, she'd probably be hissing at him by now. "I clearly saw you move. You were bullying her." Honestly, Wang Yin had never been in such a situation before. Though Ji was small, she was already an adult. But since Zhuohua had never explained certain things to her, these young beast girls were still quite naive. To be honest, Wang Yin would rather she blush and run away than keep questioning him like this. Zhuohua forced a smile, seeing that Wang Yin was struggling, and gently pulled Ji aside to help him out. "All right, Ji, Wang Yin isn't lying. We really were just playing. But Sister Zhuohua, you don't have to comfort me. I know you're strong. But he made you bleed. He must have hit you really hard. Look, it's still bleeding." After a lot of effort, Wang Yin and Zhuohua finally managed to convince Ji that they had only been playing around and not actually fighting. Only then did the matter finally settle down. But Wang Yin really did seem almost lifeless. Zhuohua put on her clothes and suddenly realized something, then turned to Ji and asked, "Ji, it's still morning. Why are you back already?" At her question, Ji finally came to her senses, waving her hands in panic. It was clear she had run into something urgent. "Don't worry. Take your time," Zhuohua said gently, patting her on the back. From Ji's broken words, she finally pieced together what had happened. "You mean, while you and Huaiyue were picking acorns, a girl with wings fell from the sky?" Ji nodded quickly, her big round ears flapping like fans. "Yes. Now Sister Yingluo and Sister Yuli are there too. Sister Zhuohua, you should come and see. A woman with wings." Zhuohua frowned deeply and asked, "Ji, when you saw that woman with wings, did she have a glowing ring above her head?" Ji thought for a moment, then shook her head. "I didn't notice, but she was covered in blood. It was really scary." Zhuohua nodded slightly. "All right, take me there." "Okay." After tidying up, Zhuohua and Wang Yin set off. On the way, Wang Yin noticed something was bothering her and asked, "What's wrong, Sister Zhuohua? Is that person with wings dangerous?" Zhuohua's face grew serious. She sighed softly. "If it's just someone with wings, that's fine. But if she has a halo, then we're in trouble." The mountain path twisted and turned. After climbing several slopes, they finally saw Yingluo, Yoli, and Huaiyue surrounding a girl who was badly injured. When they saw Zhuohua arrive, they all looked relieved, as if their leader had finally come. Yingluo waved her large tail and called out, "Sister Zhuohua, over here. She's about to die." Zhuohua hurried forward. When she finally saw the wounded girl, her heart sank, and her face turned pale. The girl wore a white robe stained red with blood. Her golden hair and white feathers, also streaked with blood, were spread across the muddy ground. A pair of pointed, rosy elf-like ears peeked through her hair. She looked like an angel fallen into the dirt. The sacred aura around her seemed as if the Creator had given her all the best qualities of both angels and elves, an angel's pure grace and an elf's beautiful innocence. Even though she was now covered in blood and dirt, her features were still so delicate that they looked as if they had been carved by a god. A mix of distance, pain, and nobility surrounded her like a quiet storm. Above her head floated a dim, fading red polygonal halo. Exactly what Zhuohua had feared, that troublesome one. Wang Yin seized the moment and quickly opened the unconscious girl's status panel. Not wanting to waste the chance, he unlocked her profile first. He had a strange feeling that this woman would definitely drop something extraordinary. Mishra Delia, Sky Elf Tribe Age, 763 Affection, -100 Talent. Elf Aura, Bound Permission, Soldier, Specialties, Super Intelligence, Social Expert, Wings of the Sky Elf, Machine Control Core, Ding Sky Elf Tribe Profile Unlocked, Passive Skill Gained. Machine Control Core. New items unlocked. Store updated. For a moment, Wang Yan's mind went blank. He staggered back a few steps as a strange feeling filled his head, as if he had suddenly formed a faint connection with something unknown. What on earth is this passive skill? He muttered, tapping his head and steadying himself. Just then, Zhuohua stepped forward, pushing the others urgently while speaking in a low, tense voice. Move. We need to get out of here before we get into trouble. This one is not someone we can handle. The young beast girls didn't understand why Zhuohua was reacting so strongly, almost as if she were avoiding a deadly plague. She was usually the kindest among them. So why would someone as gentle as Zhuohua want to leave this wounded girl behind? Help! A faint, trembling voice broke the silence, leaving everyone frozen in place. Help me! Zhuohua slowly turned her head back, confirming that it was the elf speaking. She initially wanted to ignore her, but the girl spoke again. I promise. The Million group won't retaliate against you. I will show enough sincerity to repay you. Don't. Go. The elf seemed to have used all her strength and finally fainted. Sky elves live in the very upper layers of the world. They hate all lower creatures. However, Delia knew that if she still clung to her so-called pride, she might really die. That's why she desperately begged Zhuohua to save her. Fortunately, Delia's desperate plea worked. Zhuohua stopped and carefully considered her words. In the end, she let out a long sigh and said to everyone, Yuli, carry her back. Everyone was surprised by this. They understood Zhuohua's meaning. They hurriedly helped the girl up from the ground, had Yuli carry her, and quickly moved her back home. At this moment, Wang Yin couldn't understand what was happening. He asked Zhuohua, Zhuohua, who is this woman? Zhuohua looked at him calmly and explained, the Sky Elf Malira. A very proud race. They hate all lower beings. In the upper layers, their reputation is terrible. From what little she said, Wang Yin could tell that Zhuohua was from the upper layers and had seen a lot. He finally understood why his status bar's favorability was -100 earlier. It's because they are like the Sky Dragon people, which made sense. He continued to ask, what is this Million she mentioned? Hearing this, Zhuohua's expression became serious. Malira is a group of iron lumps that imitate her appearance. I am most wary of these. If we rescue this woman without understanding, and she doesn't appreciate it, she might call those iron lumps. Then, our whole family will be in trouble. But since she asked us for help herself and even offered a reward, we can consider it. Although Malira's reputation in the upper layers is a bit bad, they are still reliable when it comes to trustworthiness. Let's just think of her as a fat sheep we're saving. Being able to control a mechanical body, with a control range of no more than 5,000 meters. Wang Yin looked at the machine control center on the status bar in front of him, and his mouth twitched slightly. What is this? Mechanical bodies are here? Is this all so abstract? He thought he had traveled to a traditional medieval fantasy world with swords and magic, but now it seems a bit far-fetched. Mechanical bodies too? Looking at the small beast girls covered in animal pelts. Isn't the gap a bit too big? Mechanical or not, in this situation, whether we can survive the winter is already a problem, let alone making mechanical bodies. Isn't that just a waste of the number of copies? The passive effect was completely useless, so Wang Yin turned his attention to the new items in the shop. Sunlight fruit seeds. 1,200 points. Unbelievable. Another money-burning item. Selling seeds for 1,200 points. What good things could grow from these? He checked his balance. Although he had been frugally harvesting potatoes these days, the little beast girl's appetites kept growing. Xiao Zizi, for example, could eat 5 roasted potatoes in one meal. Earning points was as slow as a turtle, which was maddening. In the end, all his thoughts turned into a long sigh. Basically, he was just too poor. If he had been reborn at the top level, he wouldn't have these worries. The group temporarily placed the blonde to bed. Her injuries weren't too serious. Her bleeding had stopped long ago. Maybe she fainted from blood loss. Zhuahua removed her clothes and simply washed her up, but her blood-stained wings were hard to clean. It took a lot of effort to finish cleaning them. To prevent infection, Wang Yin specially boiled a large pot of water. Without a towel, he had to use his hoodie instead. Honestly, he was reluctant to part with his clothes. He had brought only a hoodie from Earth, a pair of underwear, a pair of jeans, and a phone. The phone had long since run out of battery. The clothes he was wearing were part of the polyester fiber outfit issued by the system, which he rotated with. But he didn't like wearing the system-issued clothes. They were uncomfortable. Many people are familiar with this polyester fiber, but they don't know what it actually is. Just look at your school uniform to find out. In the end, Wang Yin used a system-issued military knife to activate the scissors function, cutting off the hood of his hoodie. He boiled it 3 times in hot water, then tore it into a towel to clean his wound. Since there were no suitable medicines available, he had to do this to prevent infection. The elf girl said she would offer a generous reward, so it definitely wouldn't be something ordinary. Wang Yin couldn't let her die just like that. He remembered her saying she wouldn't let Million attack herself, and combined with Zhuahua's mention of a metal lump, which suggested that Million was a mechanical creation made by this group of chickens. If he could get her to send him a machine girl, which man wouldn't want to own his own machine girl? So, Dilia settled in with the little beast girls. But for some reason, the elf girl remained unconscious. She didn't need to eat or drink, just lying on the bed like a corpse. If Wang Yin didn't occasionally check her breathing, he might have thought she was already dead. But that was actually good, saving him the trouble of feeding her. He only needed to turn her over now and then. However, these days, Wang Yin felt a bit strained. The sleeping space was already tight, and with a patient lying there, everyone had to squeeze to sleep. For some reason, Zhuahua also shifted her position, so now Zhuahua was leaning against the wall. Wang Yin was close to Zhuahua, and Yingluo was close to Wang Yin. At night, both of them would cling to him, asking him to sleep with them. But Yingluo was fake, and Zhuahua was real. Her small hands often acted mischievously, grabbing Wang Yin from time to time, making it quite difficult to handle. It's been 10 days since Wang Yin arrived in this world. He finally adapted and accumulated enough 100 points. Without hesitation, he activated the second plot of land. Currently, many places lack points, and the only way to earn points is by improving efficiency. One plot produces 20 kilograms of potatoes a day. 2 plots produce 40 kilograms. Since each potato is worth 1 point, he earns 40 points daily, double what he used to get. Currently, the most urgent task is to increase the speed of earning points. This means mainly cultivating land, while also paying attention to other plants to see if they can be transplanted into the system. The goal is to replace potatoes with higher yield crops. That day, Wang Yin, wanting to get familiar with the environment, specifically asked Yingluo to take him to the wild outdoors. He wanted to see if he could find any familiar wild vegetables to transplant into the farmland. Unfortunately, the system's farmland seemed to have very strict restrictions. Many common wildflowers and grasses could not be transplanted. After a whole morning, he didn't find a single plant that the system would accept. This made Wang Yin quite frustrated. "Why are you picking wildflowers and grasses all morning, Wang Yin?" Yingluo asked. To Yingluo, Wang Yin's behavior seemed a bit strange, almost like he was acting nervously. Wang Yin didn't explain much, just said he wanted to see what was edible and pick some wild vegetables. Yingluo's fox ears twitched, and she clapped her hands, suddenly understanding. "Oh, so you want to pick wild vegetables? You should have told me earlier. Today, we're out to pick wild fruits. If you want wild vegetables, I can take you to find some," She then tried to lead Wang Yin to a place where wild vegetables grow. Honestly, Wang Yin didn't recognize many wild vegetables himself and needed Ying Luo to point them out one by one. He managed to dig up a few edible wild plants, hoping to see if they could be transplanted into the system. Unfortunately, even if they were edible, they were basically wild grasses. It seemed the system's rules were very strict. Wang Yin could only sigh helplessly. Finding suitable crops was extremely difficult. After all, many vegetables and fruits started as wild grasses. People select from many plants, then spend hundreds or even thousands of years domesticated them, eventually transforming them into what we see today. He shook his head lightly and gave up on this idea. It was more practical to buy seeds from the store. Just as Wang Yin was about to turn and leave, a small yellow-green flower suddenly caught his eye. Wang Yin sensed something was wrong. He quickly stepped back and crouched down to examine it carefully. That was a flower that looked like a dandelion. Its outer color was yellow-green. Small white flowers with pointed tips formed a radiating pattern around a tiny round ball, just like a dandelion that wouldn't be blown away by the wind. It looked very ordinary, so much so that you might accidentally step on it. However, at this moment, Wang Yin was lying on the ground, eyes wide open, breathing a little unevenly. He had only seen this kind of thing in some online videos. If his guess was correct. Thinking of this, Wang Yin tremblingly reached out his hand, trying to add it to his farm. Ginseng is warm in nature and highly nourishing, known as the king of herbs. Legend says that 1,000-year-old ginseng can even help a dying person hold on for a little longer. But of course, this is just a legend. Wang Yin panted heavily, staring fixedly at the small yellow-green flower. His heart was pounding fast. Although he couldn't recognize some rare medicinal herbs, ginseng is a common topic in many online marketing videos. Even if he didn't study pharmacology in detail, he could roughly identify it. When his palm touched the small yellow-green flower, it was instantly absorbed into his system farm without any resistance. Wang Yin was shocked inside, but then felt ecstatic. It worked. He really managed to add it. Without hesitation, he opened his farm. He clearly saw that the ginseng had already been planted quietly in the empty farmland. Yes, it really works. For special crops like ginseng, the farm has its own unique rules. Just by looking at it, Wang Yin understood these rules completely. As a rare medicinal herb, ginseng doesn't grow like typical crops with obvious planting, flowering, and fruiting stages. Instead, it keeps aging over the years. The one in his farm was 134 years old, with a substantial weight. Its price had already reached 1,340 points. It seemed that this type of ginseng increased in value by 10 points for each year of growth. Using a 100-fold growth rate, 1 year could make this ginseng grow by 100 years, which would be worth 1,000 points. Although this increase might seem small over a year, and perhaps not very cost-effective, Wang Yin couldn't guarantee that after surpassing certain ages, the value of the medicinal herb would change dramatically. Modern medical research shows that ginseng typically lives up to about 200 years. The idea of a 1,000-year-old ginseng doesn't really exist. In fact, ginseng that is 200 years old has more medical value and produces better effects. It's not just a little bit better than 100-year-old ginseng. But I'm getting a bit off topic. Wang Yin didn't really want to plant this ginseng. Right now, it looks like this ginseng is just a gift with a lot of points, about 1,300 points, enough for him to exchange for many things. This also reminded him of the farm's extra uses. He didn't have time to grow ginseng himself. Exchanging points directly was more cost-effective. Ying Luo looked at the small flower that suddenly disappeared in front of Wang Yin. She had a big question mark over her head. What just happened? Why did that yellow-green flower vanish? All that was left was a small hole in the ground. But Ying Luo didn't think too much about it. She suddenly remembered something and said, "I remember this flower. Chi-Chi pulled it out and ate it before. It seemed to be poisonous. After eating it, Chi-Chi had a nosebleed for a long time. She was so scared she cried. Luckily, it stopped later. She was worried about getting scolded by Sister Zhuohua for eating random things, so she asked me to keep it a secret." Hearing this funny story, Wang Yin couldn't help but twitch his mouth a little. It fit Chi-Chi's personality. She thought ginseng was a radish and ate too much. "Do you know where I can find this kind of flower? I really need it now." The pinkish-gray fox tail wagged from side to side, and her playful fox ears twitched. Ingluo lowered her head, seeming to search her memory. I haven't paid close attention to this flower, but I remember seeing it a few times. Next time I go gathering, I'll pay more attention. If I see it, I'll pick it for you. Wang Yin quickly waved his hand. There was no way he'd let Ingluo pick it herself. He wanted a complete ginseng. If Ingluo helped pick it, she might damage the plant. That could ruin his chance to exchange points later. This also made Wang Yin realize that plants like this are a quick way to make money. Although the little beast girls' homes are in the very poor lower layers of the wall abyss, these plants are in their wild, untouched state. It's quite easy to find rare and strange medicinal plants that can exchange for a lot of points. To avoid prolonged worries at night, Wang Yin immediately sold the ginseng and went home with Ingluo. Wang Yin was unsure how to spend the sudden large sum of money. After careful thought, he bought a 400-point iron pot, a 500-point iron spear, and finally used 200 points to open new farmland. In this way, the unexpected windfall was spent. As for why he didn't spend all the points on farmland, Wang Yin had his own plans. Currently, farming costs seem quite high, and his productivity is low. Overexpanding farmland would just be a waste. One piece of land can produce 20 points from potatoes, but opening a new plot costs 400 points, equal to the price of the iron pot. This means planting potatoes. It takes 2 days to recover the cost of one plot, and the cost to open new land keeps increasing, making it not very worthwhile. Therefore, without high-yield crops, Wang Yin believes he should use his points wisely. Blindly expanding farmland would only cause problems. It's better to buy what he needs now and wait until he has high-yield crops to expand further. The iron pot is really necessary for Wang Yin. Currently, the little beast girls cook with clay pots, which sometimes don't cook the rice properly. Wang Yin has experienced food that is only half-cooked once or twice, but eating it too often causes stomach issues. His stomach isn't as tough as the beast girl's ears. Getting a good iron pot ensures the food is cooked properly, which is very important. The night sky is hazy. The distant clouds look like a mix of lemon and blueberry juice. Wang Yin sits by the crackling campfire, looking a bit bitter. He didn't expect these points to be so easy to spend. Even drawing cards costs at least 100 points, and points are always in short supply. After buying the iron pot, the beast girls didn't understand what it was at first. It wasn't until Wang Yin built a simple stove with stones and cooked a big pot of meat soup that they realized how useful the iron pot was. This round thing is so useful, meow. It cooks faster than clay pots. Thank you, Wang Yin, meow. Huayu ate favorability watching the cat's big golden eyes fill with surprise as it circles around the stove. Wang Yin couldn't help but smile. His mood was also improved by Huayu's cooking. It's clear she really enjoys making food. The pot he exchanged 400 points for was definitely worth it. Since there's no oil, he can't teach them to stir-fry, but having a cast iron pot is a good improvement for their meals. As for the iron spear, after dinner, Wang Yin gave it to Yuli. It can help her defend herself better and improve the house's security. If another goblin attack happens, Yuli can handle it more easily. This pure iron spear is 3 meters long and weighs 15 kilograms. Yuli is strong enough to handle it easily. Because it's made of pure iron, it feels like a very long, sharpened steel rod. Against goblins, it's very effective, hard to survive a hit. Yuli took the heavy spear, and her usually serious face showed a rare hint of warmth. She looked very happy with the weapon. She slowly looked up and asked carefully, "Is this a gift for me?" Wang Yin nodded confidently and patted her shoulder. "Yes. With this, you don't need to worry about beast attacks anymore. Do you want to try it out somewhere?" Yuli shook her head gently, and a faint, almost shy smile appeared on her face. "No need. I like this weapon very much." Yuli 10 favorability well. Buying 2 items to improve life quality unexpectedly increased her favorability. Subtle flirting is the most deadly. After earning a large sum of points, Wang Yin recently started going out to gather resources. Although he doesn't know much about herbs, he tries everything strange and new. This has helped him find many herbs, earning over 6,000 points in a week. This is also a learning process. By adding herbs into the system, he can see detailed information about them, like Dendrobium, Polygonum multiflorum, and Panax nodoginseng. This also improves Wang Yin's knowledge of medicine. Over the past few days, the blonde fairy lying on the bed showed no signs of waking. If Wang Yin hadn't occasionally checked her breathing, he might have thought she had died in her sleep. For now, he decided to leave her on the bed. He would feed her some meat soup each day to keep her alive and not worry about her. Wang Yin had more important things to do at the moment. The fourth and fifth plots of farmland needed 400 and 800 points each. After several days of saving, Wang Yin had accumulated 7,000 points. He spent 1,200 points to expand the farmland to 5 plots. The remaining 5,800 points would be used to improve his family's living conditions. Honestly, there aren't many items in the shop that can really improve life quality. Most of the upgrades come from unlocking new tools through lucky draws. Wang Yin first spent 300 points to buy cotton seeds. With these, he could make a simple spindle to produce cotton thread. He remembered seeing his grandmother use a spindle when he was a child. It was quite easy to make, but he wasn't sure how to weave. Still, he believed he could figure it out. First, he needed to produce cotton thread. Maybe later, he could get a textile machine from a lucky draw. Even if he couldn't weave, the cotton thread could be used to tie things or sew clothes, which is much better than using grass ropes. As for other items, Wang Yin didn't plan to buy them now. The 4,500-point Heavenly Cauldron core probably wouldn't be useful yet, so he decided to save his points for lucky draws and stock up the shop with goods. Right now, opening land doesn't seem worth it because the returns are very low, just a potato, and he doesn't know when he'll break even. Lucky draws are more valuable. They can unlock new items and sometimes give useful supplies, like clothes or military knives. He wondered if he could get a firearm. If he did, he could finish the game quickly. He spent 3,000 points on 30 draws and received 5 purple quality items: a quilt, a set of warm cotton clothes, a bottle of medical alcohol, a bag of cement, and a knowledge capsule whose purpose he didn't understand. Wang Yin nodded. Most of the items were very practical daily supplies. Aside from the mysterious knowledge capsule that seemed useless, the rest were mostly various vegetables and fruits. However, the system wouldn't let him exploit this bug. Crops obtained from the system's lottery couldn't be planted. That's a bit disappointing. The remaining items included some pre-made canned foods and drinks, modern industrial products. He could occasionally give these to the little beast girls to improve their meals and increase their goodwill. As for unlocking items, he unlocked 4 essential goods: cement 500 points per bag, iron axe 600 points, leather armor 500 points, soap 300 points per bar now. The shop had unlocked basic building materials like cement and red bricks, so he could try building simple structures. For example, constructing a brick wall with a door and windows at the cave entrance. Currently, only one side was covered with leather, which was fine in autumn, but winter would be a big problem. But there was no rush. Wang Yin still had 1,800 points left. His initial salt supply was almost gone, so he spent 1,000 points to buy a set of seasoning packs. Besides a 300-gram bag of salt, it included soy sauce, vinegar, a small packet of MSG, and a small barrel of cooking oil. Overall, spending 1,000 points for so many items was quite worthwhile. After more than half a month of saving, only 800 points remained. Wang Yin shook his head lightly. He was just getting started. Even the little beast girls were satisfied, but he still wasn't fully content. So, he quickly set out again with Ying Luo, continuing to search for herbs. When Ying Luo learned that Wang Yan's delicious foods were all made from strange flowers and herbs, she seemed enchanted and lost interest in foraging for wild vegetables and fruits. Instead, she focused entirely on helping Wang Yin find medicinal herbs, which made Wang Yin both amused and a bit helpless. The fluffy fox tail wagged left and right. The big fox licked its lips and, bending over, stared intently at a patch of grass, as if trying to see something. Herbs. Herbs. Where are they? Wang Yin thought the big fox looked quite cute in this state. He stepped forward and gently patted her back, explaining, "Finding herbs isn't so easy. We mainly gather wild vegetables and fruits, not specifically looking for those herbs." In recent days, Wang Yin had managed to find some herbs, mainly because their location was undeveloped. Sometimes luck allowed him to pick a few, but overall, the home of the little beast girls was too poor. To find more herbs, they would need to go further up, which was somewhat difficult. After a morning of searching, they found nothing. Ying Luo drooped her ears, looking a bit sad. They were at the farthest part of the beast girls' gathering area. If they went further, they might meet other tribes. To be safe, Wang Yin sighed and decided to take Yingluo back. But Yingluo stubbornly shook her head and looked eager to try. Wang Yin, let's go a little further. They hadn't gained anything from this trip, and Yingluo was clearly a bit dissatisfied. She wanted to go further with Wang Yin. She quickly added, there's not much different ahead, just fewer wild vegetables. That's why we stopped. But today, we can try a bit more. Don't worry, I know the way. Hearing Yingluo's reassurance, Wang Yin thought for a moment and nodded. They wouldn't go too far, and if they found nothing, they would just head back. Not long after, Yingluo really spotted a small yellow-green flower in a corner of the grass. If you didn't look carefully, you wouldn't notice it. After confirming, she found Wang Yin. Her big tail wagged constantly, as if saying, praise me. Wang Yin couldn't help but smile secretly. He reached out to pat the big fox's head and rubbed her ears, feeling their soft texture. Good job, Yingluo. Once I dig up this ginseng, I'll treat you to something tasty tonight. The big fox nodded eagerly, humming a tune she made up herself, hands behind her back. Just as Wang Yin bent down, a young, slightly angry voice came from behind them. That ginseng is mine. You can't take it. The new cover has been uploaded 10 times in a row, but it keeps getting rejected. I think there might be a problem with the account, so I'm considering changing to a new one to post again. Wang Yinming suddenly stood up and turned around alertly. To his surprise, he saw 2 small children standing in front of him. These little kids had familiar features, big round ears and tiny tails behind their backs. They looked like little mice. The 2 mice were one behind the other. They weren't tall, about 1 meter each. They wore rough cloth clothes, but they looked much better than Yingluo's animal hide outfit. The brown-haired little mouse in front looked angry, with her face flushed. She held a small shovel. Behind her was a long-haired brown mouse who looked scared but still gathered courage to scold Wang Yinming. That herb was mine first. I just went home to get my shovel. You're not allowed to take it. Wang Yinming looked at the 2 mice glaring at him and checked his status bar for information. Hey Tanghua Little Biscuit Mouse Clan Age. 11 Favorability. -30 Talent. Not Awakened Skills. Basic Mining, Gluttony, Resilience. Hey Tanghua Little Cake Mouse Clan Age. 11 Favorability. -30 Talent. Not Awakened Skills. Basic Mining, Cheerfulness. Sharp Eyesight Little Biscuit and Little Cake. Besides their small size, their faces flushed with anger, they looked terrified of him. But their bravado was kind of cute. However, this ginseng root was a huge treasure for Wang Yinming. Just because the other side was 2 kids didn't mean he would give in easily. If these little mice insisted on glaring at him, Wang Yinming didn't mind playing a game of rock, paper, scissors, only with rock and paper. The short-haired mouse in front, seeing Wang Yinming ignoring them, gathered her courage and shouted at him, her voice trembling. You, stop. Don't touch my herb anymore, or I will. Wang Yinming heard Biscuit threaten him. He gently raised his eyes and said calmly, what are you going to do? Upon being frightened by Wang Yin, the 2 little mice squealed loudly and started crying. The mouse in front, holding a small shovel, immediately knelt on the ground, crying as she said, Big brother, please don't dig anymore. This is grass I want to take to save my mom. Our mom is going to die. I want to use this ginseng to make soup for her. Seeing her older sister kneel and cry loudly, the younger sister, who was already timid, sat down on the ground and also started crying. The 2 mice's loud sobs were deafening, which made Wang Yin pause in surprise. Stop crying, Wang Yin shouted, and instantly the 2 mice shut up. From the short-haired mouse's words, he learned that these 2 little mice had a mother who was somewhere unknown. He frowned and turned to ask Yingluo. Yingluo, is there a place where mouse people live nearby? Yingluo was also confused for a moment and shook her head. I've never seen one. The closest place to us is a human village, but it's a day and a half away to get there. That's strange, Wang Yin muttered to himself. Then he looked at the 2 trembling little mice and said, I'll ask questions, you answer. If you lie, I'll beat you. Understand? The 2 little mice hugged each other in fear. They answered whatever Wang Yin asked, not daring to lie at all. After some questioning, Wang Yin finally understood what was going on. It turned out that besides their mother, there was a very young mouse who hadn't been weaned yet, and they had escaped from a faraway place called Mouse Potato City. Mouse Potato City? Escaping from danger? Wang Yin caught on to these key words and asked Yingluo about it. But Ing Luo knew nothing, so she asked Little Biscuit again. However, Little Biscuit's answer was a bit vague. Because of the child's innocence, her words weren't very clear. All Wang Yin learned was that Mouse Potato City had been invaded by outsiders, and their mother had led the 3 little mice to escape here. Wang Yin thought for a moment and then said to the 2 little mice, "I'll give you this ginseng, but you have to take me to see where you're living now. If you try to lie to me, I will definitely give you a good beating." The Little Biscuit was stunned for a second, then quickly thanked him and ran back toward the ginseng, carefully digging it up with the shovel. Regarding the little mouse girl, called Little Cake, although she stopped crying, she couldn't speak when asked questions. If she hadn't just been crying loudly, Wang Yin might have thought she was a little mute. After a moment, Little Biscuit carefully dug out a small ginseng root. Honestly, this ginseng wasn't very big, probably less than 100 years old. If it was just 2 mice trying to help their mother recover, Wang Yin didn't mind giving it to them. However, it was important to find out where this new neighbor lived. So, Wang Yin followed the 2 mice to a quiet corner. At first, he wondered if they had led him to a trap, but then he saw Little Biscuit lying down by a bush, pulling it aside to reveal a narrow hole. Turning to Wang Yin, she said, "Big brother and sister, the entrance is inside. Let's go in." Wang Yin was cautious and didn't let Ing Luo go inside. He whispered a few words to her, telling her to call Zhua Hua for help if he didn't come out soon. They crawled into the hole, which was a small, simple cave. It was clean, with some items neatly arranged in the corner, a simple wooden table and chairs, and a straw bed. As the 2 mice said, on the straw bed lay a very weak mouse lady, holding a tiny mouse baby wrapped in a blanket. Seeing strangers suddenly in her home, she nervously sat up. "Little Biscuit, Little Cake, who is this?" Little Cake quickly hid in her mother's arms. Little Biscuit explained about the ginseng, but the mother looked worried. Their family was fleeing and chose this hidden place to avoid being found. Now, they had been spotted. She didn't know if Wang Yin was good or bad. If he had bad intentions, her family would be in danger. After confirming there was no danger, Wang Yin called out to Ing Luo outside the hole and told her to come in. Inside, only a small torch cast faint light, making it hard to see anything clearly. Wang Yin looked up and carefully checked the status bar of the mouse mother to gather some information. Begonia flowers and ginkgo mouse tribe age, 24 liking, -10 talent, not awakened skills, basic cooking, sharp hearing, hunger endurance overall, there is nothing suspicious. Wang Yin nodded gently, confirming that the Little Biscuit was not lying. The mouse mother indeed looked very sick, almost to the point of death. It was just a ginseng root, which he decided to give to her. "Wang Yin, maybe we should leave quickly. It's getting late, and if we stay longer, it will be almost dark." Wang Yin shook his head. Going back now is a bit risky. To be safe, he decided to stay here for one more night. The mouse mother, Ginkgo, protected her 2 little mice behind her and stared intently at Wang Yin, testing him. "Our family is very poor, just these few things. You can take what you need, sir." This made Wang Yin feel a bit annoyed. Does he really look like a thief? "I'm not here to steal. Your family is too poor for us to want anything. But we need to stay here tonight. Would your wife mind?" Ginkgo nervously waved her hands, her face turning pale. No, she wouldn't mind. "You two can stay here, as long as you don't cause us trouble." Wang Yin felt a bit helpless and rubbed his forehead. He was tired of dealing with Ginkgo. "Wang Yin, if we stay here for one night, will Sister Zhuohua and the others worry?" The big fox held Wang Yin's hand, clearly worried. Wang Yin thought about it too, but he could only shake his head. "No use worrying. To be safe, we can only stay here for one night. Tomorrow morning, we'll get up early and leave quickly." He and Ing Luo had come out to pick wild vegetables. When they saw strangers approaching, Wang Yin naturally wanted to find out who they were. Once he confirmed that these mice posed no threat, he could relax. Later, Wang Yin talked a few more words with Ginkgo. Since the Little Biscuit's words might be a bit off, it was better to ask the adults directly. From Bai Guo's words, Wang Yin learned that the Mouse City was attacked by a group of humans 6 months ago. Bai Guo had to escape westward with 3 young mice. When Wang Yin asked how a sickly woman managed to take care of 3 children through the night, her answer surprised him. During the day, she slept half the time, traveled half the time in the afternoon, and at night, she carried the 3 mice up into the trees to avoid wild animals. They moved like this, stopping and going, for over a month until they finally reached this place. After carefully considering Baigua's story, Wang Yin found nothing suspicious. He couldn't help but admire maternal love, which allowed such a weak mother mouse to escape with her children for so long. However, she had also fallen seriously ill. If there was nothing nourishing to help her recover, she might really die. Wang Yin said no more. It was evening now. He took out a set of blankets from the warehouse and found a spacious spot in the cave to lay them out. Tonight, he could share a bed with the big fox. Then, he dealt with dinner. It was easy. He had a lot of prepared food and canned goods from previous lucky draws. He took out a small bag of bread and 2 cans of venison, opened them with a military can opener, and immediately, a rich smell of meat filled the cave. The big fox's eyes lit up. She grabbed a can and was about to enjoy it when an untimely sound interrupted her. Glug glug. Ing Luo looked curiously toward the sound and saw the 2 little mice staring at her, at the bread and venison can in her hands. She was momentarily at a loss. Noticing the strange atmosphere, Baigua quickly hugged the 2 mice to her chest and said hurriedly, "Master, miss, sorry. You eat first. Don't mind the children. We will eat soon too." The little cake, probably very hungry, started to cry softly, tears welling up as she wiped her eyes and whispered, "Mommy, I am so hungry. I haven't eaten for 2 days." As the older sister, Little Biscuit was also hungry, but she clenched her lips tightly, not letting herself cry. When she heard her sister crying, the small mouse in her arms, who was hungry and thin, also started to cry. Baigua didn't know what to do and quickly stroked the heads of the 2 children, placing the small mouse into Xiao Bingan's arms, and said to the little mice, "Don't cry, don't cry. Mom will go outside to find some food for you." Seeing this scene, Ing Luo drooped her ears and suddenly felt that the delicious canned food didn't taste so good anymore. She turned to Wang Yin and whispered, "Wang Yin, they are so pitiful." Wang Yin smiled slightly and gently patted Ing Luo's head. "What do you want to do, Ing Luo?" Ing Luo put down the canned food, clenched her fists, and tentatively replied, "Maybe I can give them my dinner. They are really so pitiful." Wang Yin shook his head gently and then patted her shoulder. "You don't need to ask for my opinion. You can do whatever you want." The big fox's eyes seemed to light up. Without thinking, she leaned over and kissed Wang Yin's cheek with her soft lips, which made Wang Yin a little stunned. "Ing Luo's affection 10. Here, this is for you. Don't go outside." She handed over the canned food and bread in her hands. The little mice looked at her in disbelief, as if they were still unsure if she was talking to them. Ing Luo stepped forward and handed the canned food to Baigua. "This is for you. It's almost evening now, so don't go outside anymore." Baigua didn't seem very happy. Instead, she instinctively looked confused and pushed the food back. "No, this can't be. Take it back quickly. Outside. Outside there are plenty of wild vegetables. We have food." Baigua, due to long-term illness, had lost the ability to go out and find food. Even walking was difficult. The family relied on the 2 small mice to pick some wild fruits to survive. But wild fruits weren't that plentiful. Otherwise, they wouldn't have gone several days without eating. Because of malnutrition, the small mice, still in their infancy, had even lost the strength to cry from hunger. How could there be enough food? Wang Yin quietly watched this scene. He wasn't lacking food himself. With the farm, his supplies were unlimited. He was happy to give to a family on the verge of collapse. After all, exchanging some food for their sympathy and emotional support was quite satisfying. He was quite happy that his girl was kind and a bit naive. Ing Luo did not ask Wang Yin to bring food to share with the family, but carefully asked if he could give her his dinner. At that moment, he suddenly realized how much he liked this kind and slightly silly fox. "Fool, give her your dinner." "What are you eating?" Ing Luo shyly scratched her head and smiled shyly, saying, "Before Wang Yin came, we often couldn't afford to eat. I can skip a meal, no problem, hee." Wang Yin helplessly shook his head. This silly fox was really hard to deal with. He took out a few cans of food from the warehouse, and even a bottle of milk, placing them on the ground. "Take these." Baigua looked at the beautifully packaged food on the ground, especially the bottle of milk, and finally tears burst out. She no longer refused but pulled the 2 children along, bowing repeatedly to Wang Yin and Ing Luo. Baigua finally let the children have a full meal. The sweet milk was held close to her warm chest. She then asked Wang Yin to help open it, and fed it to the little mouse in her arms. The rich aroma of meat made the small biscuits and cakes, which had been hungry for days, feel very satisfying. She wanted to eat more out of greed, but was stopped by Bai Gua, who didn't want the two mice to overeat and make their stomachs hurt. Ingluo watched the scene in front of her, her eyes shining as if filled with light. Her grayish plush fox tail wagged happily, showing her joy inside. But without dinner, her stomach was still hungry. Wang Yin reached out and put his arm around her shoulder, teasing, "Are you hungry?" The big fox lifted her head proudly, trying to act tough. But after a busy day, how could she not be hungry? Her stomach suddenly growled loudly, making Ingluo lower her fox ears in embarrassment. Hee, of course, his silly girl deserved to be spoiled. Wang Yin couldn't let the big fox go hungry. He took out a piece of bread and a can of meat stew from the warehouse. Ingluo's big eyes sparkled like little stars. She once again hugged Wang Yin's neck and kissed his cheek, making him feel a bit shy. That silly fox. Where did she even learn that? After a full meal, Little Biscuit carefully placed the leftover food in the corner of the cave, then wrapped the ginseng in a piece of cloth. Since they couldn't make a fire inside, she would have to wait until morning to cook soup for her mother outside. She had once seen that the nobles of Mouse Potato City loved this kind of soup. With it, her mother would surely get better. After tidying up, and with Wang Yan's permission, Bai Gua put out the torch and blocked the entrance with a large stone. Then the two little mice, barefoot, climbed onto the bed, placing the smallest one near the pillow. They nestled close together, and the little family of four slowly drifted into sleep. It was their first full meal since escaping from Mouse Potato City. The lingering taste of good food made Little Biscuit and Little Cake smile even in their dreams, as if they were still enjoying another feast. Wang Yin also pulled Ingluo into the blanket. The soft bedding felt 100 times more comfortable than straw mats or animal hides. As soon as she lay down, Ingluo almost fell asleep from the comfort, but she held on, wanting to stay close to him. She wrapped her arms gently around his neck, and the two of them lay very close. Wang Yin could clearly hear Ingluo's breathing, warm and steady against his cheek, making his heart race a little. Without thinking, Wang Yin leaned forward and gently touched her lips with his. The big fox didn't quite understand what he was doing, but her heart beat faster, and she found herself liking the warmth of the moment. Perhaps by instinct, Ingluo responded softly, and their gentle kiss deepened naturally, just like the first time they met, when he had given her artificial respiration. When the kiss finally ended, Ingluo hid her face against his neck, breathing quickly. Their hearts seemed to beat in the same rhythm. They didn't speak a word, only shared a quiet, tender moment. Ingluo knew she had come to treasure this feeling. That night, they all slept peacefully. Wang Yin slept lightly. Even though he was sure that this family was not dangerous, he still had to be careful. After all, nothing could guarantee that the mother mouse wouldn't act badly when he took out so much food. Luckily, there was no movement all night, and the two of them were able to rest peacefully. The next morning, around 4 or 5 o'clock, Wang Yin woke Ingluo. He tidied up a bit without waking the little mice. Before leaving, he left nearly 100 kilograms of potatoes at the hole's entrance. For him, that was just a day's harvest, but for the hungry mice, it might be a life-saving amount. He wasn't trying to be generous. He just didn't want Ingluo to feel sad. After taking care of everything, he held Ingluo's hand and hurried back home in the early morning light. Wang Yin didn't want Sister Zhuohua to worry too much. On the way, they moved quickly with few stops. In about 3 hours, they reached home. As soon as they entered the yard, Wang Yin saw a group of people about to go out. Even Yuli didn't sleep. Zhuohua was first surprised, then let out a sigh. She didn't scold or show too much worry. She just gently touched their heads and said, "It's good that you're back." However, the lively duo, Squeaky and Huaiwe, were different. They rushed toward Wang Yin and Ingluo. Squeaky hugged Wang Yin's waist, looking like he was about to cry. Wow. I thought you two had encountered some danger. You didn't sleep well all night." "I'm so glad you're back." Wang Yin's mouth twitched slightly. If someone didn't know better, they might think something serious had happened. But Squeaky was just too worried about himself. Wang Yin couldn't say much, so he looked at Zhuohua seriously and said, "Yesterday, Ingluo and I went out gathering and met 2 young mice from the mouse tribe. They said they escaped from the distant mouse tuber city. To find out the reason, I took Ingluo to check. It was as they said, but it also delayed us, so we had to stay overnight. Hua listened to this and nodded gently. After thinking for a moment, she said, Mouse City. Fleeing. Since everyone is back now, let's all come in. You can tell me the details carefully. Wang Yin nodded. He and Ingluo really needed some rest, so everyone entered the cave. As Wang Yin recounted yesterday's experience, everyone learned that they now had a new neighbor. As for whether this new neighbor was good or bad, Wang Yin had already checked. It was just a family of mice who couldn't even afford enough food. But since there was a neighbor, Hua thought she should try to help them. After all, they had 3 hungry children, which reminded her of her own past, and she felt sympathetic. So, they agreed that in a few days, they would visit the neighbor together. After a small incident, the matter was settled. The family continued their usual life of stockpiling food. At first, Wang Yin wondered why he should keep stockpiling food if he could just make it appear. Hua explained that even if they didn't eat it, they could dry and store it, or trade it when merchants came. It was better than doing nothing. This made Wang Yin curious again. What exactly was this mysterious merchant Hua mentioned? Basic. Capsule building. Looking at the quiet blue capsule floating in his hand, Wang Yin examined it from all sides, but couldn't tell what it was for. He got this strange item from a card draw. Since he didn't know what it did, and there was no explanation, he put it in his storage. Tonight, feeling bored, he remembered he had this thing and took it out to look at. Yuli carried a shiny silver iron gun. The flickering fire cast an orange glow on her face. She looked at Wang Yin calmly and asked, Can't sleep again? Hearing this, Wang Yin felt a bit amused. It wasn't because Ingluo was too clingy this time, but because after they kissed last time, the big fox seemed to have become addicted. Every night, she would hold him and kiss him. Sometimes it was fine, but she did it every night. Moreover, this guy seems completely unaware of how attractive his body is. He ignores everything else and just wraps his arms around Wang Yin's neck to kiss him. Wang Yin isn't a saint with strong willpower. If he weren't constantly being pulled away by Zhuahua to do chores, he probably wouldn't even be able to hold his gun steady. It was only because Ingluo was bothering him so much that Wang Yin decided to step outside for some fresh air and to spend a little time with Yuli. Wang Yin was sure that the capsule in front of him was a special item belonging to the system. After searching around without success, he finally reached out and gently touched the capsule. The moment his finger made contact, a stream of very pure knowledge flowed directly into his mind. It was like a sudden enlightenment, and he instantly understood some basic building skills, as if he had become a skilled construction worker. Is this? As the capsule slowly disappeared and the knowledge entered his mind, Wang Yin finally realized that this so-called knowledge capsule was meant to give him specific skills and experience. He was overwhelmed with joy. He had been worried earlier about how to build walls without bricks and cement, but now that problem was solved. Seeing Wang Yan's increasingly excited expression, Yuli's usually cold face suddenly showed a hint of surprise. What was he doing? Why was he sitting alone and suddenly laughing foolishly? But before she could ask more, a foul smell suddenly filled the air. Wang Yin was immediately overwhelmed by the stench and understood what was about to happen. He quickly took a few steps back. Yuli's expression turned cold. Her dark green scales shimmered with a cold light as she suddenly stood up, holding a shining iron spear, glaring at the cliff, ready to face the coming threat. Gurgle, gurgle. Shell? Shell. It sounded like something was knocking repeatedly, followed by an increasingly strong rotten smell. The stench was dozens of times worse than what Wang Yin had smelled before, almost making him instantly. Yuli's grip on her spear turned white. She knew very well what this growing foul odor signified. A pale, giant hand, as if it had been dead for days, slowly emerged from the cliff wall. It seemed to clutch the rock crevice tightly, causing tiny cracks to form. Then, a disheveled, long-haired giant crawled out from beneath the cliff. It was about 2.5 meters tall, with messy, grayish, dry hair tangled in knots. Its limbs were unusually long, and its body looked sickly and thin, like a skeleton wrapped in skin. Its entire body was as pale as a corpse, with faint patches that resembled death marks. The most disturbing feature was its face, which looked somewhat like a human face, but with unnaturally protruding lips, revealing uneven, jagged teeth. It resembled a dog face. The giant dog-headed creature made a kurr sound in its mouth. It supported itself on its limbs, with two smaller dog-headed creatures nearby. Unlike the smaller ones, which barked and showed their teeth in warning, this creature moved on all fours, with its back arched, pacing in place. Yi took a deep breath, cleared her mind, and focused intently on the three strange beasts in front of her. Then, she struck first, moving like a streak of dark green lightning wrapped in silver glow through the night. Fortunately, she had a pure iron spear given by Wang Yin. She was experienced in combat, her strength was strong, and she just needed a suitable weapon. Even facing such a huge dog-headed beast, she felt a bit nervous but could handle it. She stabbed several times, and the three ugly monsters were instantly pierced, resembling a beehive. Then, one of its long legs was lifted high, and she kicked it off the cliff. These monsters' meat couldn't be eaten because they contained deadly toxins. If left to rot, they would produce poisonous mists within a day. So, they had to be dealt with quickly. After witnessing this scene at the cave entrance, Wang Yin quickly stood up and hurried over. Before asking for Yu Ye's opinion, he lifted her hands to check her. Sure enough, she was trembling slightly. Wang Yin wanted to scold her, but seeing her stern face, he could only sigh and ask, "Has this monster appeared for the first time today?" Yu Yi, held by Wang Yin, blushed slightly and softly replied with a, "It's been 3 days. I don't know what's happened recently. The night beasts seem to have become more aggressive and harder to deal with. Why didn't you call for help? I can handle it myself." Feeling the slight trembling in his palms, Wang Yin suddenly thought that the girl might have some issues, similar to her somewhat introverted personality. She had mentioned that the situation at night had been ongoing for several days. This kind of thing should have been told to him long ago, but Yuli hadn't said a word. If he hadn't gone out tonight for some fresh air, Wang Yin wouldn't have known how long she had been hiding it. "Yuli, I know you're not very talkative and tend to be cold, but I also know you're a very sensible girl. When something happens, you shouldn't hide it and bear it alone. We are family, and we should face things together." Yuli pursed her lips, but ultimately said nothing. She just nodded gently. Yuli's favorability 5 Wang Yin looked at the floating notification window, a slight smile on his face. He didn't expect Yuli to listen immediately, but it was good if she remembered what he said. Tonight's events made Wang Yin realize it was time to take some safety measures. Who knew if more strange beasts would appear? He didn't want to see Yuli get hurt trying to be brave. Currently, Wang Yin had 2 plans. The first was to build a brick wall along the edge of the cliff, leaving only one gap, and enclose the entire yard. This way, strange beasts could come out through that gap, and as long as they guarded it, they would be safe. However, Wang Yin wasn't very optimistic about this plan because the giant dog-headed creature was very strong. In the short term, it might be okay, but over time, the brick wall would likely be destroyed within a few months. It didn't seem very worthwhile. The second plan was to hide completely in a mountain cave, similar to the one they used before at the Baigua family's place. The entrance was just a small dog hole. Although traveling was a bit inconvenient, at night they could just block the entrance with a large stone, so no need for night watch. But this kind of cave depended on luck, and their family had 6 members, which was too many for such a small space. Wang Yin thought that in the coming days, he should pay more attention to some remote caves when going out. If he found a suitable one, they could move there. He stayed with Yuli for a while. Usually, there was only one attack at night. After chatting casually for a bit, Wang Yin returned to the cave to sleep. The next morning, Zhaohua woke Wang Yin early. Since the weather was still good today, she decided to take Wang Yin to meet that family of mice. The 2 of them left early. Wang Yin is not from this area. To understand more about these new neighbors, it's best for Zhaohua, who is well informed, to see for herself. On the way, Wang Yin told Zhaohua about what happened last night. Zhaohua looked a bit helpless, but mostly she seemed to feel worried. "Yuli." "Oh." Wang Yin asked a question from his heart. "Yuli, why does she like to act tough so much?" When he mentioned this, Zhaohua pursed her lips. Wang Yin has now become part of their family, so he should know about these girls' backgrounds. Yuli is someone I found later. The story is long, so I should start with my own background. As they walked, Zhaohua kept her hands behind her back, as if she was taking a stroll. "I originally come from a place in the upper world called the Cuckoo Kingdom, a country ruled entirely by salamander people. Because of some difficult-to-talk-about things, I was forced to leave my hometown and wandered around. Later, by a strange twist of fate, I adopted Ingluo, Zizi, and Huaiwe, 3 young girls. That was a trading group that sold beast-human hybrids to humans to satisfy their strange tastes. Xiaohua spoke calmly, as if she was talking about something very ordinary. But she didn't notice that her tone seemed a little dark. I killed someone and pulled out 3 trembling little ones from their cage. I originally wanted to adopt all 3 of them, but who would just adopt beast-human hybrids for no reason? At first, I only saw that they were small and trembling in the cage, looking very pitiful. I was just feeling impulsive. But when it came to how to take care of them, I was at a loss. I wanted to give them some money and let them fend for themselves, but my conscience wouldn't let me. So, I made a tough decision and adopted all 3 of them at once. So, she took them to a remote place to live in hiding. Although life was a bit hard, it was enough to ensure they grew up safe and healthy. After hearing Zhuohua's story, Wang Yin felt very emotional. Zhuohua truly considered him family, confided in him, and he suddenly understood why Ingluo showed kindness when she saw Baigua's family. It turned out Zhuohua's situation was like that. That's how I lived with my 3 younger sisters for a few years. One day, we found Yuli in a cave. When she saw me for the first time, she suddenly went crazy and started biting me. I turned her around and saw a decayed female corpse deeper in the cave. I quickly understood her situation. Later, I couldn't leave that girl alone, so I often brought food to visit her. But it was clear what would happen. She would bite me and leave me covered in wounds, even biting off some flesh, but that didn't matter much to me. After all, I am from the Newt tribe. I could just go back and rest. It took about a month or 2, but I finally calmed down that fiery little girl, and she was the first to walk out of the cave with me. 3 are raised, 4 are also raised. Later, I adopted Yuli. From her, I learned that the woman who died in the cave was her mother. She was so shocked that she attacked me. Maybe because of that, she's been silent and guilty ever since she came home, always trying to make up for something. But we are family, so there's no need to feel guilty. I just couldn't take it anymore. I cut off my tail right in front of her. I held the still wiggling tail and said, "Look, this doesn't matter to me at all." But instead of calming her, she cried even harder. Wang Yin listened quietly, feeling a mix of emotions. Suddenly, he understood the weight behind Yuli's silence. It's not just guilt, but also a cautious way of protecting her new family after losing her loved ones. She was afraid of losing them again, and her way of guarding was clumsy but sincere. For example, it's like a blended family. Even if the family members are very close, there is still a strange feeling of distance. They think that Zhuohua and the others are the real family, so they are always very careful, not wanting to cause trouble. When something happens, they bear it quietly, even biting their lip to endure. The 2 of them exchange a glance, then let out a long sigh. Wang Yin slowly speaks. "Yuli, I will try my best to help her. She's been very quiet and not saying anything, which makes people worry." Wang Yin has only been here for a little over a month, but he understands that accepting others' kindness is important. If he tries to help Yuli, it might work better. "Yes, please do," they say. Zhuohua doesn't have any good ideas either. She can only hope that Wang Yin can help. If he can help open Yuli's heart, that would be great. She quietly notes this, planning to spend more evenings with Yuli these days. The territory of the little animal girls isn't very big. If they go a little further out, they will reach the white fruit family's place. They left early and weren't in a rush. Around 10 in the morning, they arrived at the white fruit family's home. Before Wang Yin even reached the door, he saw 2 little mice lying on the ground, seemingly doing something. When they heard someone coming, they looked up and saw Wang Yin. They jumped happily and chirped. "It's the big brother who gives us delicious food. He's here again." Seeing the 2 mice rushing over, after having enough food for a few days, they had gained a little weight, with small cookies and cakes becoming a bit chubbier. The 2 mice, 1 in each paw, hugged Wang Yan's legs. Wang Yin was a bit caught off guard. Seeing this scene, Zhuohua gently turned her head and covered her mouth to laugh. Wang Yin said to the 2 mice, "What are you 2 doing lying on the ground?" The little mouse cake let go of Wang Yan's leg. Its paws, covered in dirt, made Wang Yin feel a little uneasy. Then he looked at his dirty pants and felt a bit annoyed. "We're watching ants move their home." The little cookie also nodded repeatedly, but suddenly remembered something and shouted, "Oh no, We're out picking wild vegetables. We played too long and forgot. Wang Yinshan reached out both hands, grabbing the collars of the two little ones, and said, "Where is your mother?" "We came today to find her." Little Biscuit pointed at the hole with dirty little fingers and said, "Mom is inside the hole comforting my little sister. Thanks to brother for sharing the herbs with us. Mom is much better now." Wang Yin nodded, put down the two mice, and helplessly patted his pants before walking toward the hole. Zhuohua covered her mouth and chuckled softly, saying, "It seems you really like children." Hearing this, Wang Yin frowned and waved his hand. "Those two little lights chirping all the time are so annoying. I can't stand them." Zhuohua didn't argue but continued, Yes, you really dislike children." After saying that, she quickened her pace, brought her pink lips close to his ear, and asked, "What if I gave you a child? Would you be annoyed?" His face turning red, Wang Yin planned to ignore her, but his reddening ears made Zhuohua see clearly. Since she started being honest with him, she had been working hard toward the goal of having a baby. However, transforming into a beast-human hybrid and reproducing was very difficult, and there was no movement in her belly. Looking at Wang Yan's back, Zhuohua gently licked her lips. "It seems tonight. I need to try harder." Wang Yan didn't hear her muttering and walked to the entrance of the hole. The hole was very small. The petite body of the mouse tribe could pass through easily, but for an adult man, it was a bit difficult, and even more so for Zhuohua. Although she was also small, her thick tail took up a lot of space. If he pulled her through the hole together, her tail would definitely get cut. So, Wang Yin bent down, called out loudly to Baiguo outside the hole, and waited outside for her to come out. Hearing Wang Yan's voice, Baiguo quickly placed the mouse she was holding onto the bed, scrambled to climb out, and upon seeing Wang Yan, immediately knelt down. "Master, benefactor, thank you for your kindness. If it weren't for your great mercy, our family would be doomed." His voice trembled slightly, clearly overwhelmed with excitement. Wang Yan looked up and saw that his good feeling score had already reached 100 points, which was genuine, not fake. He waved his hand and said, "These are for you. They are from the girl who was with me before. If you want to thank someone, thank her. If it were only me, I wouldn't even bother to look at you." Baiguo buried her head in the ground and knelt down very sincerely. Tears of excitement filled her eyes. The 100 kilograms of potatoes could sustain her family of 4 through the winter for 3 months if they ate sparingly. This gave Baiguo, whose heart had been broken, new hope to keep her children alive. Wang Yin could truly be called their savior. "That fox girl is very kind, and you are very kind too. You are both good people." As she spoke, Baiguo got up from the ground, grabbed the hem of her rough cloth dress, and tore a patch from it. A shiny, golden object rolled down. Baiguo quickly put it into her arms, carefully wiped it with her sleeve, and then, as if presenting a treasure, handed it directly to Wang Yin. "Master, I really don't know how to thank you. Please accept this pocket watch. I hope you won't mind." A pocket watch? Wang Yin raised an eyebrow, interested, and looked at the shiny, golden round object. He took it without hesitation. The golden pocket watch looked very small. In Wang Yan's hand, it was like a wristwatch. Its size was suitable for a mouse-sized creature. It was shiny and bright. He pressed the button on top, and the case opened. Inside was a slowly turning dial and a gray-white photo. Interesting. This pocket watch clearly contained 2 pieces of information: highly precise mechanical craftsmanship and camera technology, which made such a delicate watch possible. Zhuohua poked her head out and also stared at the pocket watch for a while. The exterior shows no signs of dullness. It should be gold-plated. Seeing Wang Yin so interested in her gift, Baiguo was pleased and quickly explained, "My grandfather, He Tenghua by Silver Shield, was once a mouse knight. During a campaign, he made great contributions. The royal Fong of the Mouse King awarded him this pocket watch, which was eventually passed down to me." Wang Yin looked at the faded black and white photo. It clearly showed a noble-looking rat woman dressed in fine clothes and wearing a crown. She turned her head and made eye contact with Zhuohua. Zhuohua gently shook her head and said, "It probably isn't fake." Wang Yin wasn't particularly fond of this item, but he was very interested. He closed it and put it in his pocket. "All right, I'll take this. But I'm not giving you something for nothing." Wang Yin lightly raised his finger, and the last 5 cans of food in the warehouse were neatly placed in front of Baiguo. This can be opened with a stone to break the metal. If you run out of food, you can eat this. If you don't open it, it can last for decades without spoiling. The scene before him seemed like a miracle, and Bai Guo's eyes widened in amazement. Yes, this was it. That night, the old master brought out a can filled with meat. Bai Guo swallowed hard, her eyes full of longing, but she didn't dare to step forward and take it. Wang Yin didn't want to pay her any attention. The item was just left there. He didn't plan to take it back. Although it emptied his warehouse, these canned foods are just padding for the card system. After drawing a few more cards, he would have plenty of them. He wasn't short of this. Then Wang Yin turned to the side, revealing Zhuo Hua behind him, and said, "This is our village's leader. If you have anything to say, just tell her." Hearing the title, leader, Zhuo Hua rolled her eyes at Wang Yin, then gave Bai Guo a very polite smile. "Mrs. Bai Guo, since Wang Yin returned last time, I've learned about your family. I feel very sorry about the tragedy in Mouse Potato City. I also have a few questions I'd like to ask you, if that's okay." "Thank you, Lady Bai Guo. I really appreciate your help. It's getting late, and we need to go back before dark. If you encounter any difficulties, just follow the cliff eastward to find our home. Feel free to seek help if needed." After saying this, Zhuo Hua had no more questions. They said goodbye and started their journey home. Having a new neighbor nearby can be troublesome, but after confirming that it was just a very innocent mouse family, they decided to leave them be. Another important piece of news from this trip was that a war had broken out. Although the little beast girl's home is very remote, it's safer to be cautious when going out in the future. What if they meet fleeing refugees? On their way back, it started to rain lightly. At first, they tried to walk faster, but the rain grew heavier and looked like it might turn into a storm. With no choice, they found a cave to take shelter. "Look ahead. There's a cave on the cliff over there. Let's go see." Following Wang Yan's pointing finger, Zhuo Hua saw a cave on the nearby cliff. The entrance was a bit high, about 2 meters above the ground. They had to climb a little to get in. Since there was no better option and only this cave nearby, they decided to make do. First, Wang Yin helped Zhuo Hua up into the cave. Then he climbed in after her. Once inside, Wang Yin quickly looked for something flammable. Both of them were soaked and needed to start a fire to dry off. Unfortunately, the cave was bare, with nothing inside except some broken stones. Because it was on high ground, no wild animals could get in. A cold wind blew through, making Wang Yin shiver. Suddenly, he seemed to remember something and spoke. "Why is there wind?" The wind inside the cave meant it was large enough inside. They looked at each other, understanding Wang Yin's meaning. Both stood up and prepared to explore further into the cave. Wang Yin had a passive skill from childhood that included night vision, so he wasn't worried about seeing clearly in the pitch-dark cave. He held Zhuo Hua's hand, and the two of them moved deeper into the cave together. As they went further inside, for some reason, Wang Yin felt the temperature rising a bit after turning a few corners. Curious, he kept going. When he reached the last bend, he clearly saw a bright light reflected on the cave wall at the corner ahead. "There's light." Wang Yan's heart trembled. He didn't know what was at the very end, but he exchanged a glance with Zhuo Hua, noticing a hint of caution in her eyes too. He signaled for her to wait where she was and decided to go ahead and check it out himself. He moved close to the wall, carefully poked his head out, and when the scene in the cave appeared before him, he almost stopped breathing for a moment. It was like a paradise, a natural cave with nearly 1,000 square meters of space. In the center was a clear, green water pool that shimmered with a faint glow. Vines with glowing berries hung from the walls like chandeliers, lighting up the entire cave. The glowing plants and minerals created a daytime brightness inside, forming a small, self-sustaining ecosystem. "Zhuo Hua, come quickly and look." Hearing Wang Yan's urgent call, Zhuo Hua was puzzled but followed closely. When she saw the scene with her own eyes, even she, who was experienced, couldn't help but be shocked. It's a natural large cave. This was exactly the place Wang Yin had been searching for, a safe spot to hide from strange beasts. The moment he saw it, he decided to move the little beast girls here. Just as he was about to step out quickly to explore, Zhuo Hua reached out and held him back. "Don't rush. Let's go together." Wang Yin realized he had been reckless. They knew this was a good place, but what if others found out? If there were people inside, it would be safer for both of them to go together. Together, The two carefully entered the cave side by side. Fortunately, after a thorough search, they found only some naturally growing plants, a few field mice or wild rabbits, and no large animals. This is really a good place, Wang Yin said, hands on his hips, looking around the cave. Zhao Hua saw his idea and asked, "Do you want to move here?" Zhao Hua was clever and quickly understood Wang Yin's thoughts. Wang Yin nodded gently, but Zhao Hua expressed her doubts. "It's a big place. Where should we settle?" "Well, don't worry about that." Wang Yin hummed a couple of times, then used 2 points to exchange for 2 red bricks, which appeared in his hand. Use these. Zhao Hua naturally knew what these were. She didn't expect Wang Yin could even turn bricks into this. She couldn't help but laugh softly. Oh, you really can do anything." Since the location and building materials were settled, they hurried to move their things. They wanted to finish before winter came. That way, even if they stayed in the cave without wearing winter clothes, they could stay warm through the whole winter. It was getting late. After some effort, they knew they couldn't go back tonight. Wang Yin cleared a spot to start a fire for warmth. His clothes, soaked and cold, needed to be dried quickly. "Take off your clothes and dry them. I brought a blanket. After you dry yourself, come inside." Zhao Hua watched Wang Yin scramble around and smiled slightly. She teased him with interest. According to human terms, salamanders are amphibians. "I'm not afraid of water. You seem so eager. Could it be?" Her gaze moved downward, and her pink eyes gradually turned into heart shapes. "Are you interested?" 2 pieces of clothing hung by the campfire to dry, filling the cave with a warm, romantic atmosphere. Wang Yin knew today was bound to be a fight with Zhao Hua, but he didn't expect her to be so excited. To please him, she even cut off her salamander tail herself, making it easier to get along with him. After a long while, as the campfire was about to die out, the two finally stopped resting. Zhao Hua's face was flushed and satisfied. She hugged Wang Yin gently, like a small cat, rubbing her cheek against his chest. Wang Yin reached out and held her slim waist, asking her, "Are you hungry?" "A little." "Then let's eat first." "Don't. I want to stay in your arms a little longer." "All right." They stayed like that for a while, and their clothes dried a bit. They put on their warm clothes and sat close together, quietly eating. Since finishing dinner, Wang Yin suddenly thought of a problem. The temperature inside the cave didn't seem very low. Normally, outside, it's autumn now, with temperatures below 20 degrees Celsius. But inside the cave, it felt like about 25 degrees Celsius, which was strange. Soon, Wang Yin found the cause. It was the water pool in the middle of the cave. He gently touched the blue water, and his eyes widened. He quickly said, "Zhao Hua, come here. Look at this water. It's warm." Zhao Hua hurried over and also sensed something was wrong. "This water is strange. How can it be warm?" She thought for a moment and suddenly said, "Wait here. I'll go see what's below." Wang Yin was worried. The warm water must be unusual. He wasn't sure if there was any danger underneath. He didn't feel comfortable letting Zhao Hua go alone to check. Going down alone might not be safe. Zhao Hua understood his concern. She gently patted her chest, and her small cheeks shook slightly. She said confidently, "Don't worry. Don't underestimate me. I'm quite strong." She was confident because water was her second home, and after being nourished by Wang Yin, her spiritual meridians had advanced to the second level. Even if there was danger in the water, she could handle it easily. She quickly took off her clothes again, and a pink figure leapt into the water. She had been so absorbed in playing with Wang Yin that she even broke her tail, which might affect her a little, but it wasn't a big problem. Wang Yin waited by the shore for nearly 10 minutes. When there was still no movement on the water, he started to feel anxious. He kept pacing by the pond, worried that if Zhao Hua didn't come back soon, he would have to go in to rescue her. Fortunately, Zhao Hua didn't make him wait too long. Suddenly, ripples appeared on the water, and a pink figure floated back up from the pond. Wang Yin quickly reached out to catch her and pulled her onto the shore. "Ow! It's so hot!" Wang Yin exclaimed in surprise when he touched Zhao Hua's arm. She sat down on the ground, gasping for breath. "The water below. It's boiling. The deeper I went, the hotter it got. I sank nearly 200 meters, but I still couldn't see the bottom. I have no idea what's down there. It's a very deep pond." Wang Yin guessed that at the bottom of the pond, there must be a very hot heat source constantly warming the water. This would make the pond part of the cave's temperature control system. The lush plants around also make sense now. He gently helped Zhuohua put on her clothes and then took her to the fire to dry off. Thoughtfully, he said, "If we can't see the bottom, let's forget about it for now. We'll explore more when we have the ability later." According to Zhuohua, she sank about 200 meters without encountering any dangerous creatures. This means the shallow parts of the pond are quite safe. Staying here wouldn't be risky. Both Wang Yin and Zhuohua felt this was a good place. After returning tomorrow, they planned to tell the little beast girls about their move and try to leave as early as possible. That way, they could avoid staying up at night to guard against strange beasts. They snuggled under the blanket and fell asleep together, silent for the night. The next morning, Wang Yin and Zhuohua got up, packed their clothes, and hurried back home. It took them about an hour to arrive. The little beast girls at home weren't too worried about their overnight absence, because the strongest fighter in the family wasn't Yin Gui, but Zhuohua. Seeing them return, all the little beast girls came forward to greet them. Wang Yin didn't delay and immediately told them about the upcoming move. The little beast girls were a bit surprised. "Ing Luo, moving, squeak, Where are we going? Moonflower. Is it far from here, meow?" Yoli. Wang Yin raised his hand to signal everyone to be quiet. At this moment, Zhuohua took the floor and said, "It's not far. That place is also something we discovered suddenly yesterday. But now, since autumn is almost halfway over, we want to move in before winter comes. So, everyone, don't go out collecting for the next few days. Focus on preparing for the move." Wang Yin waved his hand casually and said, "No need to make it complicated. How much stuff needs to be moved? Leave it to me." The storage system in the system warehouse is based on weight, with a maximum of 1 ton, which is enough for the move. For some reason, Moonflower shook her head and reminded Wang Yin, "It's not that I'm worried about how to move things, meow. It's just, what should we do about the winged woman in the cave, meow?" Talking about Dilia, Wang Yin couldn't help but feel a headache. This fairy who fell from the sky, he initially thought to let her rest at home to recover. But she got addicted to sleeping, and now it's been almost a month with no sign of waking up. Wang Yin was quite annoyed. "I'll go check on her," he said, about to go inside and try some special methods to wake up the sky fairy. Moving soon, and she's still sleeping? After some days of rest and recovery, Dilia's injuries had long healed, but her face still looked a bit unnaturally pale. Wang Yin gently raised his hand and patted her cheek. Sure enough, there was no response. But that was exactly what Wang Yin expected. Zhuohua seemed to have thought of something. A strange smile appeared on her face as she quickly leaned in close to Wang Yan's ear and whispered a few words. Hearing Zhuohua's malicious plan, Wang Yan's eyes widened in shock, and he whispered, "No way? Are you serious?" Zhuohua blinked playfully. "Anyway, these Malira aren't good stuff. If she doesn't wake up, you can have some fun. What do you think? Want to give it a try?" Wang Yin ultimately decided not to follow Zhuohua's suggestion to do that kind of thing with the elf. He felt it might be inappropriate. Dilia, as a noble sky elf, had a delicate face with a touch of elegant nobility. Her long golden hair spread across the bed, looking like a pure and flawless sleeping beauty. Just her perfect appearance made it hard not to like her. As for any other thoughts, Wang Yin was just afraid that if he made a move, he might wake her up with a single piercing action. He remembered Zhuohua's words earlier. These elves didn't play with bows and magic like others. They had even more extraordinary powers. Wang Yin looked at the elf lying quietly in front of him, pondering silently. She seemed to have no injuries now, probably in a state similar to a vegetable. Right? What's that scene in the TV drama again? I think it's talking to the patient to stimulate her to wake up, muttering to himself. Wang Yin suddenly thought of a good opportunity. He instinctively curled his lips, leaned down, and whispered softly into Dilia's ear. "If you keep sleeping like this, your noble body might get defiled by those beneath you who look down on you." Dilia seemed to have a nightmare. It was a very strange dream. She dreamed of a big rat staring at her, then climbing up her smooth white silk dress to her thighs. But in the dream, she couldn't move at all, only watching that terrifying scene unfold before her. As a noble sky dragon of the wall abyss, her greatest fear was being defiled by those lowly beneath her. She was suddenly jolted awake by the nightmare, her dark golden pupils wide open. No, Wang Yin rubbed his ears. He knew this method might work, but he didn't expect the elf to react so strongly. He steadied himself, curled up in the corner of the bed, and saw the frightened Dilia wave her hand. Hey, you're finally awake? Delia covered herself with her large wings, curling into a ball. After a long while, her vision gradually focused, and memories flooded back into her mind. Ayu. This. Wang Yin nodded with satisfaction, feeling proud as he said to the little beast girls, see? Just one sentence was enough to wake you up. Delia recalled her past before losing consciousness. She remembered falling and desperately calling for help from a salamander tribe. Now, this place should be their home. Cave, straw mat, animal skins. When Delia saw the surroundings, her face darkened instantly, and her wings even trembled a little. Was this where I spent my unconscious time? Wang Yin didn't expect her first words to be like this. He spread his hands and said, yes, and you were drinking the cheapest, unseasoned meat broth. Every night, you were sleeping with us, the lower class people, still not understanding the current situation? Used to being a dragon person. Huh? Sure enough, after Wang Yin finished speaking, a look of shock appeared on Delia's face. Instinctively, her stomach churned, and she quickly got up. But because she had been unconscious for a long time, her legs were weak. She took only a few steps before falling to the ground. She didn't care about that and crawled to the edge of the cliff outside, starting to. This scene made Wang Yin find it somewhat amusing and also made him realize that sky elves are really delicate. After a long while, her stomach spasms finally stopped. Delia wobbled and tried to stand up, but her legs suddenly went weak, almost falling off the cliff. Fortunately, a large hand grabbed her arm and prevented her from falling. Feeling better now? Once Delia steadied herself, she quickly broke free from his arm, supported her forehead for a moment, then tidied herself up. She looked at Wang Yin and the little beast girls and said, I'm very sorry for losing my composure. I have remembered what happened before. I won't forget to pay you for your help. As a noble and elegant sky elf, even though she was overwhelmed with discomfort, she quickly regained her composure, appearing aloof and speaking in a calm tone. Wang Yin, feeling lazy to argue, simply said, no need for small talk. Where's the payment? Hurry up and give it to us. When Wang Yin said this, Delia's gaze awkwardly drifted to the side. For someone used to looking down from above, this was a strange experience. The payment will be delayed for 2 days. At that time, my servants will bring it. After Delia finished speaking, Zhuohua suddenly remembered a rumor about the Sky Elf tribe. She tiptoed and whispered into Wang Yan's ear, Malira can't do much. Their daily life is all managed by their iron gadgets. Without those iron things, they can't survive. Maybe she's already started calling for help, and it will take 2 days for them to arrive. Wang Yin nodded gently, thought for a moment, and then whispered to Zhuohua, do you think, once her iron gadgets arrive, she might suddenly change her mind? Probably not. These chickens care a lot about their reputation. Although she said that, it's best to stay cautious. Wang Yin spread his hands and said to Delia, all right, we'll trust you this once. 2 days it is. Delia nodded in thanks, still looking cold. Thank you very much. When my million arrives in 2 days, I will reward you generously. If this woman stayed for 2 more days, Wang Yin planned to delay the move for a couple of days. Once this trouble was gone, he would consider moving. He mentioned to the little beast girls that, although they wouldn't move now, it was still good to get familiar with the area. Since they needed to build a house in the cave later, Wang Yin asked Zhuohua to stay at home. He took Yingluo, Zizi, and Huaiyue to the cave to explore the area and clear a space for future building. After Wang Yin and the others left, only Delia, Zhuohua, and the sleeping Yoli remained at home. Gecko people probably can't appear in the lower levels, Delia said slowly. Both the Gecko tribe and the Sky Elves are powerful at the top of the wall abyss, so they wouldn't appear here without reason. But Zhuohua didn't want to bother with her. She casually made up a reason and replied, I'm a wild child. So what? Not okay. Zhuohua always looked down on the Sky Elves, so she didn't bother to have a real conversation with Delia. Delia was not too upset by Zhuohua's attitude. She had expected this outcome, as she had dealt with the Yuan tribe before and knew they were often difficult to communicate with because of their bad temper. Neither of them spoke further, and the atmosphere fell into a strange calm. Meanwhile, things were lively over with Wang Yin. Several small beast girls had never seen such a scene before. As soon as they entered this lush green world, they happily ran around. The little mouse happily looked around the cave, finding everything new and interesting. Her big chestnut eyes sparkled like stars. She asked Wang Yin in disbelief, "Wang Yin, are we really going to live here in the future?" Wang Yin was standing with his hands on his hips, looking around the cave to find a good spot to build a house. When he heard the mouse's question, he smiled and replied, "Yes, in the future, this big area will all be ours. So, Squeak, you need to help out quickly. Let's work together to finish building the house as soon as possible." Build a house. A few of the small beast girls, who had lived in caves since they were young, also became interested. They looked at Wang Yin with eager faces. At this moment, Meow asked him, "What will you use to build the house, Meow?" Wang Yin snorted softly through his nose and casually took out a brick. However, these little beast girls didn't recognize what he was holding. Seeing this, he didn't explain much, just told them to quickly clear the designated area so they could move in later. After Wang Yin chose a spot with good lighting deep inside the cave, the whole family started working eagerly, removing weeds, small stones, and other debris. To Wang Yin's surprise, the soil here was very soft and fertile. After thinking for a moment, he realized that the lush vegetation had grown naturally for many years, forming a thick layer of humus. This meant they could set aside some land for farming, allowing the beast girls to grow vegetables when they had free time. The only problem was the lighting. The cave was bright because of many glowing plants, but these couldn't replace sunlight. Wang Yan's passive skill, Heavenly Sun's Blessing, copied from Yingluo, was not active now. It seemed he needed to pay more attention to the system and see if he could find a way to solve this problem with system assistance. After a busy day, the family returned home before nightfall. All day, Zhuohua sat quietly in the yard weaving baskets. Delia didn't bother to talk to her first. It wasn't until Wang Yin returned with his sisters that Zhuohua's calm face showed a faint smile. For dinner, they simply roasted a few potatoes and ate some dried meat strips. Because Delia was there, Wang Yin didn't want to reveal too much. But as a noble sky elf, how could she eat such things? She knew that drinking meat broth made her uncontrollably, so she refused to eat the potatoes. No matter how the little beast girls shared, she wouldn't accept it and kept shaking her head. Wang Yin didn't want to spoil her bad habits. After refusing twice, he told them not to bother her anymore. Basically, she wasn't hungry enough. Since the family's food was simple, if she didn't eat, she would just go hungry. After dinner, everyone finished washing up. It was time to sleep, but Delia still refused to go into the cave. She curled up on a small stone bench in the yard, wrapping herself in her wings, which made Wang Yin roll his eyes. Forget it. If she doesn't want to go in, that's fine. She's almost better now. Sitting in the yard for a couple of days won't hurt. If she doesn't want to, we shouldn't force her. Not planning to talk much with this noble guest, Wang Yin finished his own washing and told the little beast girls a few words. He didn't go into the cave with them. Instead, he sat by the campfire, idly poking at the crackling fire with a stick. Yuli looked at him with pursed lips. She didn't understand why Wang Yin was sitting with her. Shouldn't he be going to sleep? But she didn't say anything. She decided to let him sit if he wanted. When he was tired, he would go back naturally. Wang Yin watched the girl with her lips pressed, her dark green ponytail, scales on her cheeks, and her mysterious green snake eyes. She looked like a cold, noble lady. But in Wang Yan's eyes, her little pout made her look very cute. "Yuli, why haven't you told anyone about the strange monsters at night recently?" Yuli's pink lips moved twice as if she wanted to say something. But she finally spoke slowly. "I can handle it myself for now. What if more monsters come later, 3, 4, or even 5? Will you still try to tough it out?" The girl was speechless, finally squeezing out a sentence from her lips. "I will solve all the problems and protect everyone." Watching this girl, who was careful and gentle in her own way, Wang Yin felt a bit of sympathy and had the urge to hug her. "Yuli, if you try to be strong alone and end up getting hurt, who do you think will be the most sad in the end?" Yuli lowered her head without speaking. "Zhuohua has already told me about you. I understand you, Yuli. You're a good girl, but a bit reserved. Can you talk more with everyone? If you keep being so quiet, won't you pass on your bad feelings to the others?" Her beautiful snake-like eyes trembled slightly, her voice trembling a little. I'm very selfish. Very sensitive. Isn't that right? I know everyone is kind to me, but I just can't accept their kindness easily, especially after what I did to Sister Zhuohua before. And And Wang Yin moved closer to Yuli and gently put his arm around her shoulder. No, that's not true. Yuli is a very good girl, just a bit shy. I understand you. You're just cherishing everyone's kindness in your own way. So you want to carry all the difficulties yourself. However, I think Yuli should talk more with your sisters. When there are problems, everyone should share them. We are a family. A family isn't about everyone doing their own thing without interfering. It's about helping each other and facing challenges together. So, Yuli, listen to me. Tomorrow, tell your sisters about your recent situation, okay? Yuli slightly raised her head, her shining eyes fixed on Wang Yin. The phrase, help each other and face challenges together, was deeply imprinted in her heart. Through Wang Yin's guidance, she gradually understood the meaning of the word, family. In the end, the girl's thoughts and words were fully expressed, and she nodded seriously. Yes, Yuli's affection 25. After opening Yuli's heart, Wang Yin forgot that there was someone else in the yard. Naturally, Delia overheard everything. Her golden hair was wrapped even more deeply in her wings, and no one knew what she was thinking. Tonight, there were no monster attacks, and a rare peace settled over the area. Wang Yin and Yuli snuggled together for a while until midnight. He gently patted the girl's head and then went back to the cave to sleep. The next morning, Yuli took a deep breath and finally told her family about the recent problems, the increasing strength of the monster attacks. In fact, Zhuohua had already heard about this from Wang Yin, but Wang Yin told her to wait a little longer. He wanted to try to help Yuli feel better herself, believing it was best for her to say it out loud. Zhuohua smiled slightly. She didn't expect Wang Yin to open Yuli's heart so quickly. She felt a bit happy inside. Looking at Yuli, it was clear her attitude was changing. She was starting to try talking with her family, though she was still a little shy. I understand, Zhuohua said softly. Then she gently hugged Yuli. Good sister, thank you for your hard work. You don't need to stay up tonight. I will take your place. Yuli's eyes widened. She quickly waved her hands. No, that's not possible. Zhuohua smiled slightly, tiptoeing to pat Yuli's head. All right. Don't argue with me. Didn't Wang Yin say we're moving soon? Once we get to the new home, you won't need to stay up anymore. I can watch over you for a few more days. You've already done very well to stay so many days, Yuli. But just to be safe, if the monsters get stronger again, what will you do? Maybe let your sister take over. Zhuohua's strength was undeniable. If she didn't have some ability, how could she have safely led the children to the lower levels? After hearing about Yuli's situation, the whole family agreed with Zhuohua's idea. Squeaking happily, her big round ears flapped like fans. Yes, I think Sister Zhuohua is right. We only have a few days left. Yuli, haven't you seen how safe the new house Wang Yin took us to is? Once inside, we won't need to stay up anymore. Hua Yu nodded in agreement, though her words carried a hint of blame. Yes, Yuli, let's prepare for the move together these days. It's really unfair that you didn't tell us about such a big thing happening. Ingluo stepped forward and gently held Yuli's hand, softly saying, Yuli, just listen to your sister. Rest well these days. You've already done very well. Everyone. Yuli's voice trembled slightly, and her cold snake-like eyes now showed a faint redness at the edges. Wang Yin watched the scene before him and nodded instinctively. That's right. Family helps each other and understands one another. That's what a family should be like. That night, Zhuohua and Yuli took turns on watch. Yuli also joined in moving things. Everything was heading in a good direction. Another peaceful day passed. Today, no one went out. Wang Yin requested this because it was the day Delia was supposed to leave. Someone would come to pick her up today. Honestly, Wang Yin was quite curious about how she called for help. He had no idea how deep the wall abyss was, but from what the little beast girls had said, it was at least deeper than Earth's diameter. The more he thought about it, the more he found Delia's story unbelievable. Could the communication distance really be that incredible? In the past 2 days, the little beast girls hadn't spoken much with Delia. She had been hiding in the corner of the yard, wrapped in her wings, as if someone had bullied her. At noon, the family checked the time and realized it was time to eat. Just as Wang Yin was about to prepare a meal with Hua Yu, carrying a bucket of water, a fast-moving object like a shooting star suddenly crashed down. Wow! Wang Yin cursed under his breath. This mechanical device, coming in such a big way. Boom! A loud explosion echoed through the yard. Smoke and dust swept everywhere. Wang Yin quickly pulled Hua Yu close, covering her head with his hand. Once things settled, he slowly peeked out. A huge crater had been smashed into the center of the yard. Spiderweb-like cracks spread out. Firewood piles, water tanks, and other items placed in the yard were destroyed by the impact. A silver-white figure slowly stood upright. It was a humanoid figure clad in silver-white armor, with faintly glowing yellow patterns. A diamond-shaped mask covered its eyes. It held a heavy, mechanical-looking sword. Silver hair fluttered in the wind, resembling a cyber warrior descending from the sky. Beep. Target location of the ruler detected. Clearance mode deactivated. Beginning rescue operation. A mechanical female voice spoke from the machine. The curled-up Delia quickly jumped out and waved at the machine. Here, the machine turned its head, and the diamond-shaped mask rapidly scanned her. Ruler detected. Rescue complete. Scan shows 15 hidden injuries on the ruler, along with severe malnutrition and exhaustion. Has the ruler been mistreated? Seeing the mechanical female warrior, Wang Yan's eyes lit up. He didn't expect Milian to look so cool, wearing mechanical armor and wielding a large sword. He liked her very much. But when she asked Delia about it, Wang Yan's brow furrowed. Is this woman suddenly going crazy and claiming she was mistreated to get revenge on us? Fortunately, Delia just shook her head lightly. The machine received an order and slowly moved behind her. Indeed, with the mechanical unit nearby, Malira was truly Malira. The machine stood there, and even though Delia looked thinner after 2 days of hunger, she still maintained a dignified and elegant posture, hands folded in front of her, calmly saying, "People of the Quen tribe, I think I can now pay my debt." She reached out and fiddled with the machine, removing its belt. This is Milian's military shield belt. For you low-level folks who only fight with cold weapons, the shield's energy could last a lifetime. She held the belt as if it were nothing special. Shuahua and Wang Yin exchanged glances and nodded. Wang Yin took a few steps forward, shaking his head lightly, and said, "We don't really need this." Then, Wang Yin pointed at Delia, or more precisely, behind her. "Can we have one of these?" Hearing this, Delia frowned but didn't seem surprised. Milian's equipment wasn't very valuable in the Sky City. She just wondered why a lowly human like him would want it. Milian, as the most important technology of the Sky City, is just a shell to you as a human. Oh, I understand now. Wang Yin was confused about why Delia suddenly shouted, but he saw her still with a look of sudden realization. She continued, "Milian is also a companion model for our Sky Elves' daily life." I understand now. Wang Yin didn't quite understand what she had realized, but he had a very bad feeling in his heart. I need to go back to the Sky City first, and then send Milian here. It will take about 30 days. Here, take this. She gently waved her arm, and the belt fell into Wang Yan's hand. Surprisingly, Milian was quite generous. She gave both the belt and the mechanical body. It was a bit strange. It seemed different from what Zhao had said about race extinction. That's all for now. Ordinary people. Maybe we will never meet again. Thank you for your help these days. Delia finished quickly and, along with the silver Milian, soared into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. She didn't look back or say goodbye. It was as if the events of these days were just a tiny, insignificant part of her long life, something to be quickly erased. After all, she was a noble sky elf. The move was finished very quickly, in less than a day. Because Wang Yin had a system warehouse to store things, and the mechanical body had damaged most of the yard when it arrived, everything was packed in one go. Looking back, the little beast girls finally left the cave with Wang Yin and went to their new home. Recently, there had been many things to deal with. First, they met the Baigua family. Then they encountered Delia, a sky elf. Honestly, Wang Yin hadn't been paying much attention to his system lately. Since buying the cotton seeds, Wang Yan's warehouse already stored a lot of cotton. But he hadn't had time to work on the spinning wheel, so it was delayed for a while. Now, Wang Yan's farm still had 5 plots, but the cotton yield was much higher than potatoes. Although it took about 1.8 days to grow, the harvest was worth it. The yield is quite good. One plot can produce about 15 kilograms of cotton. Converted, 5 plots give 75 kilograms. Each kilogram of cotton can be exchanged for 4 points. So Wang Yin earns 300 points every 2 days. Besides daily eating, Wang Yin no longer specifically plants potatoes. Since moving to the new home, the cave is warm like spring, so the issue of clothing can be temporarily set aside. The most urgent task now is to build a house. The marketplace sells bricks and cement. Wang Yin plans to use these materials, along with some wood, to build a small but livable house. It can't be too big, but it should provide shelter. After all, the little beast girls shouldn't have to sleep outside. Bricks cost 1 point each, and cement costs 500 points per bag. Wang Yan's initial plan is to build a simple house that can fit 6 people sleeping together. The design should be as simple as possible since it's only a temporary shelter. Later, he plans to gradually build a 3-story small building with separate bedrooms for everyone, plus a living room, kitchen, dining area, and bathroom. It will be a big project. Previously, Wang Yin had won a knowledge capsule about building construction in a lottery. He now has some ideas about how to build a house. The temporary house will be a matchbox shape, about 10 meters long, 8 meters wide, and 5 meters high. Besides leaving space for doors and windows, he doesn't plan to add any extra designs. Even the roof will be simple and not very complicated. Since there's no wind, direct sunlight, or heavy rain in the cave, and the temperature is regulated by the nearby water pool, he can just cover it with some dry grass and animal skins. After finalizing everything, Wang Yin led the little beast girls to start work on the cleared land. They mixed cement, crushed stones, and sand with water to make concrete. Then, they used a few wooden planks to make simple trowels and began stacking the walls. Wang Yin only demonstrated the process twice, and the little beast girls understood roughly. Honestly, his work isn't very technical, just laying bricks and then pouring concrete, with the lower part being thicker. They quickly got the hang of it and started applying mortar. Once they confirmed that everyone could work together without issues, Wang Yin stopped building the walls. He had more important things to do. The door and window frames needed wooden supports, which he had to prepare in advance. He spent another 600 points to buy an iron axe. This was a tool he had obtained after a 30-draw lottery from selling medicinal herbs. Now he was ready to use it. Inside the cave, there was already some wood that could be cut and used. However, Wang Yin didn't have a planer or chisel, so he could only use an iron axe and small tools from his military knife to process the wood. The finished product might be a bit rough. There was also a large bed that could fit 6 people. But Wang Yin had only unlocked building knowledge, not carpentry skills. He didn't know how to turn wooden planks into a bed. So he first built a rough frame with bricks, then layered it with wooden boards, cotton, and finally leather. It was a bit rough, but still comfortable. It took about 10 days to build the house. The little beast girls finally moved into their new home. However, this also cost Wang Yin a lot of points. Although the house looked simple, it used up quite a few points. He didn't count exactly, but he was sure he spent over 10,000 points. Seeing his empty points balance, Wang Yin felt very different from the little beast girls. Not having enough points was very hard. Autumn still had 1 month left. There were 2 things to do. First, Wang Yin needed to take Shuohua back to their old home because traders would arrive soon. The traders often traded with Shuohua and her friends, but no one knew exactly when they would come. They only knew it would be before winter, so Shuohua had to wait there in the coming days. The second thing was that winter was coming. The dried meat the little beast girls had was almost gone. Wang Yin had some canned food, but that was only a little. It was good for a snack, but not enough for storage. After moving to the new home, Yuli no longer had to stay up at night, so she could be free. Wang Yin planned to take her out hunting. Only Zhuohua and Yuli had fighting skills in the family, but for hunting, Yuli was better. Usually, when food was scarce, Yuli would go out hunting. Today, Wang Yin decided to go with her and see how it went. The little beast girls didn't have bows or arrows. Their hunting method was very simple. Wait for other wild animals to go out and attack, then kill the prey. If Yuli couldn't handle it, she would run. If she could, she would catch the food. It was that simple. At this moment, the autumn wind was getting cooler. Wang Yin and Yuli hid in a dry grass patch, watching a wild buffalo drinking water from afar. This buffalo was probably old or weak and had separated from its herd. Yuli chose it naturally, but she was not very fast, so they decided to wait and see if any workers would catch it first. They had been lying there for about an hour. Wang Yin pulled his collar up because he was feeling cold, but Yuli still wore only her close-fitting scale armor. He wondered silently if Yuli was not cold at all. Yuli, It seems like no other animals are coming out, Wang Yin said. Yuli lowered her voice and replied, let's wait a little longer. If nothing shows up, we'll leave. Usually, lone prey like this can't keep up with the herd. Now that winter is coming, large predators will hibernate and hunt a lot. Trust me, they will come soon. Why is no one commenting? Crying face. Perhaps because herbivores are very alert. Even an old, weak buffalo that has left its herd sensed an unknown danger and instinctively started to run away. What's wrong with it? Wang Yin couldn't tell what was happening. Yuli explained in a low voice, shoo, be quiet. They're coming. Suddenly, a fierce, wild roar echoed, stirring the air with a bloody wind. Realizing it had been noticed, the hunter no longer hid its trail and leapt down from the top of a cliff. Not good. Yuli felt a chill in her heart and almost shouted. It was a creature about 4 meters tall and 2 meters wide, resembling a tiger but with some wolf-like features. Its fur was shiny and gray-white. Its front half was strong and broad, while the back half was slender and short, looking a bit strange. Don't make a sound. This is a fierce beast. It's very strong. I can't beat it. Wang Yin looked at the strange creature, which looked like a mix of tiger and wolf, and felt a shiver. It didn't look easy to deal with. To be safe, they decided to wait until it left. They moved closer to each other, whispering, what's a fierce beast? Is it very powerful? Wang Yin asked. Yuli lowered her voice to the limit and answered, very strong. Every fierce beast is a top predator, and most of them have special abilities. This shouldn't be something found in the lower levels. Top predators. This statement is true. The higher you go, the richer the ecosystem becomes, and the wider the survival space. Top predators naturally choose areas with plenty of food. But now, they are appearing in remote wilderness, which is very strange. Don't speak. Wait until it finishes hunting, then we leave together. We should also tell the other sisters about this early. It's too dangerous. Yuli feels uneasy inside. Watching the fierce beast fly toward the wild ox, its strong front paws easily tear it open, even breaking its ribs, she feels worried. Wang Yin looks at the scene and gasps. This is so intense. He is sure this creature is 10 times more ferocious than a Siberian tiger on Earth. To be safe, Wang Yin reaches for his waist and pulls off the shield belt he got from Dilia. He hands it to Yuli, telling her to wear it. Put this on quickly. If we can't escape later, it will protect you. Yuli's face turns serious. She is surprised at first, then turns her head away, feeling a little warm inside. She refuses, saying, I don't want it. You're weaker than me. You should keep it. Wang Yin doesn't want to argue. He quickly mounts Yuli and ties the belt around her. What? What are you doing? Yuli's ears turn red. Her voice is a little shy. She didn't expect Wang Yin to be so forceful, riding her and tying it on her. Fortunately, Wang Yin doesn't make too much noise, and since they are far from the fierce beast, it doesn't notice them. He continues to lie beside Yuli without explaining much. He has the burning flower ability, which can quickly stop bleeding and heal even serious wounds, unless limbs are broken. But Yuli is different. Wang Yin plans to give her this life-saving gear. Wait a bit longer. We might not be seen, Wang Yin whispers to Yuli. But right now, her mind is a mess, stuck on Wang Yin's strong action just now. Although she didn't say anything more, if she were truly discovered, she would be the first to rush forward and stop that fierce beast. The wild buffalo had almost been fully eaten. The fierce beast's claws had stained its face with thick blood. Perhaps it was full and ready to leave, but accidents always happen suddenly. A light autumn wind blew, not strong, but just enough to be in the wind's direction of Wang Yin and the others. The beast keenly sensed the smell, bared its teeth at Wang Yin, and crouched down, ready to attack at any moment. Not good, Wang Yin cursed silently. This wind, why did it have to now and attract the beast's attention? Now, there was no point hiding. The scent had been blown away. If they ran now, it would definitely trigger its hunting instinct. Yuli clearly understood this too. She clenched her white iron spear tighter and kept thinking about how to handle the situation so Wang Yin could get back safely. At that moment, Wang Yin took a deep breath, pulled out an iron axe from the system, and said slowly, let's slowly step back. If it really comes over, we'll have to fight. Yuli, get ready. Yuli was stunned for a moment, then stood up in shock. Although Wang Yin had only seen tigers in cages at the zoo and had no experience facing large wild animals, that didn't mean he didn't know what to do. In the wild, if you encounter a large predator, the right way is to stand tall, raise your hands to look bigger, making yourself seem more intimidating. This can make the animal think you're not easy to mess with. Then, slowly backing away might give you a good chance to escape. Wang Yin knew that in moments like this, staying calm was very important. He pulled Yuli up, raised his iron axe with both hands, and started to scare the beast while slowly retreating. This worked well, temporarily frightening the beast. But Wang Yin missed a very critical point. All these actions were based on the assumption that humans are not part of the beast's diet. For animals that find human flesh unappetizing, the temptation of strange creatures can be very strong. The beast paced back and forth, staring intently at Wang Yin and Yuli, seemingly weighing between the unknown and its hunger. Clearly, luck was not on their side today. The beast finally moved. Roar! Claws grabbed the wind, rushing toward Wang Yin and the others like a speeding arrow. Wang Yan's scalp suddenly felt like it was about to burst, and he cursed loudly. Today, I'll fight you. It was noon, with the sun shining overhead and agility bonuses in effect. Plus, his terrifying healing ability made it hard to predict who would suffer more. Holding up his iron axe, since he couldn't run away, he decided to fight. The giant beast's claw was like a fast hydraulic press, aiming straight at Wang Yan's head. Surprisingly, Wang Yan's mind was calm, like a machine. He dodged the attack at a tricky angle, avoiding the strike. Although he avoided the claw still cut into his chest, tearing his clothes and leaving 3 deep blood marks. Wang Yin, Yuli's eyes widened with anger. She almost shouted in fury. How dare this cursed beast do that? The pain from the beast's claw made Wang Yan's mind freeze for a moment. The sharp pain and blood made him want to cry out. Luckily, Zhaohua's super speed clotting took effect. In just a few seconds, a warm feeling spread over the wound, stopping the bleeding. Wang Yin rolled quickly, taking advantage of the beast's attack pause. He gripped his axe tightly with both hands and swung it directly at the beast's shoulder. He didn't waste time trying to be overly precise. After the strike, he stepped back. Yuli, don't rush. I'm fine. Yuli couldn't listen to Wang Yin now. Her mind was stuck on the scene of Wang Yin being torn by the beast's claw. Like a madwoman, she leapt forward, grabbing her spear and stabbing it at the beast's neck. The beast, wounded on the shoulder by Wang Yan's axe, roared in pain. Its tough skin and flesh didn't break easily, even with a sharp axe. It howled in pain and then went into a frenzy. Seeing Yuli rushing forward, the beast prepared to crush her. It raised its huge paw high again. Yuli didn't dodge. Instead, she seemed ready to trade injury for injury, stabbing straight at the beast. Suddenly, a sharp clang sounded. The bloodstained beast's claw stopped about half a meter in front of Yuli. It wasn't that the beast didn't want to attack her. If you looked closely, you could see a very thin, light yellow energy shield in front of Yuli, solidly blocking the attack. The iron spear was like a nail, piercing through the fierce beast's neck. Yuli suddenly knelt down on one knee, gripping the spear tightly with both hands. Then she spun her knee, turning her whole body in a big circle, pulling the spear straight out. A blood hole the size of an eye appeared on the beast's neck, bleeding uncontrollably. Wang Yin saw this and was very surprised. He didn't expect Yuli to be so fierce when angry. Thinking he didn't want to hold her back, he quickly jumped over to behind the beast. The beast's back leg was relatively thin, so Wang Yin struck its joint with an axe, and then quickly retreated. The beast was thrown into chaos by their attack. It had an unbreakable shield, so it could only attack, not defend. It healed quickly after being hit, so it would run after each strike. Both of them targeted tricky spots to cut, and even such a large beast found it hard to resist for a while. The two worked together very well. However, Yuli's attacks grew more aggressive. Several times, she aimed straight at the beast's eyes, as if she wanted to crush its brain with her strikes. But each time, the beast narrowly dodged. Roar! Under their combined attack, the beast went mad. It started fighting Yuli directly, no longer caring about the shield. Wang Yin thought this was not good. Dilia had said the shield belt was powered by energy. If the energy ran out, Yuli's small body wouldn't be able to withstand a single. As time passed, the beast's injuries worsened. If they delayed much longer, it would bleed to death. Now, they just needed a quick chance to end the fight. Wang Yin stepped back a few paces, gradually moving away from the battlefield. His mind raced. When his gaze drifted to the broken rocks at the edge of the cliff, a flash of insight crossed his mind. He came up with a perfect idea. The storage in the system warehouse could hold an object weighing a ton. With just a thought, the items inside would be released from within a meter of his radius. Thinking differently, this function could be used as a surprise weapon. Like now, Wang Yin glanced at the large rocks nearby, reached out, and stored them in the warehouse. The current load was 869 kilograms. Although not too heavy for the beast, it could create a perfect chance for Yu Li to strike a killing. He took a few big steps forward and returned to the battlefield. Because of his lack of experience, he was scratched a few times and blood flowed everywhere. Seeing this, Yu Li finally couldn't hold back and started crying. "King Yin, you must go. Please, I beg you." King Yin quickly pulled her into his arms. The situation was urgent, and explaining would waste too much time. He dodged a strike and then stepped on the beast's bloodied claws, climbing onto its back. When the beast saw King Yin riding on it, it immediately turned and crashed toward the cliff wall. But King Yin wouldn't follow its plan. He raised his right hand, and suddenly a large stone appeared out of nowhere. No one would expect such a sudden change. King Yin chose a tricky angle. The stone was aimed directly at the beast's neck. It pressed the beast's head to the ground, and its claws flailed wildly, looking very panicked. King Yin didn't miss this good chance. The beast's neck was already injured many times by Yu Li, making it very weak. He raised his iron axe with both hands and swung it down like chopping wood, cutting off the beast's head. A clear sound of bones breaking echoed. The huge body twitched twice and then stopped moving. Its giant claws scratched wildly, knocking down trees and tearing rocks apart. Blood spurted out from the wound like a fountain. Soon, the beast collapsed to the ground, completely still. "It's dead." As soon as he confirmed the beast was dead, King Yin's tense nerves suddenly relaxed. A wave of exhaustion and relief washed over him like a flood. His legs went weak, and he knelt on the ground. He was not only breathing heavily, but also trembling uncontrollably. The wound on his chest, which had already healed, still seemed to hurt faintly. King Yin, Yu Li rushed over suddenly, threw herself into his arms, and tears filled her golden snake-like eyes. She held him tightly and cried loudly. "King Yin, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't protect you. I'm sorry. Please don't die." King Yin was momentarily stunned. Then, a slight smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He slowly raised his hand, hugged Yu Li's back, and gently stroked her dark green hair, which was stained with blood. "I'm fine. I didn't die. It was that beast that died. I wasn't hurt. If you don't believe me, look carefully." While speaking, Wang Yin grabbed her trembling hand and placed it on his bloodstained chest. Yu Li looked at him with surprise, as if she had encountered something unbelievable. "But just now, I clearly saw. Think carefully. Does it look like someone from your family?" "Very similar," Yu Li quickly responded. "It's Sister Zhuohua." "Yes, that's right. Even though I'm human, I have abilities like you all do. Like Ying Luo, who becomes stronger in the sun, and Huai Wei, who is quick and agile. I have those too. Sorry I didn't tell you earlier, Yu Li. I didn't mean to worry you." Wang Yin wiped his hand on his pants until the blood was gone. He reached out to wipe Yu Li's tears, but only left a faint red mark, which looked funny and cute. You're really so mean." Fortunately, he wasn't hurt. The girl changed from sadness to happiness, scolded him, then opened her arms and hugged Wang Yin tightly, not wanting to let go. Seeing the rapidly increasing affection level, Wang Yin didn't know what to do. Maybe it was the so-called suspension bridge effect? Perhaps. Anyway, Yu Li was still hugging him, and she was even having a little trouble breathing. "Yu Li, let go for now. Let's check our things, and then go back." Yu Li gently rubbed her head against Wang Yin's shoulder before reluctantly releasing him. The wild ox had been mostly eaten and was no longer useful. Wang Yin stored the beast's body in the system's warehouse, about 600 kilograms, a good harvest. After such a big event, they didn't dare to delay any longer and headed back home. When they arrived, it was getting late. Zhuohua had also returned. Wang Yin immediately went to talk with her, explaining everything that had happened today. When she heard about the fight with the beast, her heart tightened with concern. "You mean You also have regenerative abilities like the Salamander clan? Zhuohua's questioning voice carried a hint of disbelief. Wang Yin nodded firmly. As he spoke, he picked up a small stone from the ground and gently cut his arm, leaving a thin line of blood. The wound healed quickly before their eyes. Zhuohua lowered her head in thought. It was the first time she had seen something like this, and she was momentarily stunned. But after a brief pause, she understood Wang Yan's condition and said, "Although I've never seen a human with the same healing ability as the Salamander clan, you should eat something right away to regain your strength. That kind of regeneration doesn't come without cost." After hearing her words, Wang Yin realized that his stomach was twisting painfully. It wasn't normal hunger. It felt as if every cell in his body was crying out in emptiness. He had thought it was just stress, but now he understood the reason. With Zhuohua's help, he slowly sat down on a stone platform and took out some food from his storage to eat. From what you just said, the appearance of a fierce beast nearby is already strange. And with the recent increase in attacks, it feels like something big is about to happen. Zhuohua frowned slightly, her face serious. Life at the lower levels was becoming more dangerous. For safety, she decided to store as much food as possible and stay in the cave through the winter, hoping that no matter what happened outside, it wouldn't affect her family. Wang Yin raised his hand, and a huge headless beast appeared in the courtyard. The young beast folk girls gasped in shock. Was this the creature Wang Yin and Yoli had defeated? It looked terrifying. Zhuohua walked around the body twice and said to Wang Yin, "This is a white-armed tiger, a very fierce kind of beast. I didn't expect even this kind to appear here." If it had been a smaller creature, Zhuohua could have comforted herself that it wasn't serious. But if even predators like the white-armed tiger were coming down, it meant something was terribly wrong above. Perhaps a powerful beast had disrupted the balance of their habitat, forcing them to move downward. Of course, this was just Zhuohua's guess. She didn't know exactly what had happened. She gently shook her head and stopped overthinking. She ordered her sisters to pick up the bone knives, quickly disassemble the dead body, and store the parts. Wang Yin and Yu Li were leaning against each other, resting to regain their strength. Zhuohua and the others worked together and soon finished dismantling the white-armed tiger. To be honest, the young beast girls' skills were quite good. They cleaned the meat thoroughly and neatly placed about 300 kilograms of meat on the wooden table. The remaining parts were bones, skins, and internal organs. Although Wang Yin had help from a system space, it seemed the storage didn't have features like time stop or preservation. This meant the 300 kilograms of meat needed processing before it could be stored safely. The problem now was that the cave lacked sunlight, making natural drying difficult. The only options left were curing or smoking the meat. If they considered curing, they would need a lot of spices, which wasn't suitable given their limited resources. Their salt supply couldn't handle that much curing, so only small amounts could be preserved this way. The safer choice was smoking. The main concern was ventilation because the cave was a closed space. However, Wang Yin had noticed that there was a slight breeze inside the cave, just not very obvious. Apart from the entrance, some hidden corners had airflow, which was good news for him. After deciding on the plan, Wang Yin quickly built a smoking shelter. It didn't take much effort. He hung up 250 kilograms of meat, leaving 50 kilograms for eating or curing later. Once everything was prepared, it was already late. The whole family was waiting for him, and even little Zizi was starting to feel sleepy. When they heard Wang Yin was going to cook himself, they all became interested. He poured oil into an iron pot. Since they didn't have a good stove, Wang Yin had to make soup to feed the young beast girls. Regarding how to properly handle the meat of fierce beasts, Wang Yin was actually unsure because it involves a natural rule. The higher the predator in the food chain, the poorer the taste of its meat. Being at the top of the food chain, some metabolic substances can accumulate in their bodies, affecting the meat and causing a earthy smell. These are basic biology knowledge that Wang Yin naturally knew well. All he could do was blanch the meat a few times, then stir-fry it with strong spices, add water, soy sauce, MSG, and wild vegetables, and simmer a rich soup. That was all he could think of. When the dish was ready, the rich aroma of the meat immediately spread out and entered everyone's noses. Wang Yin wondered inwardly, what is going on? It looks like I did a good job. It turned out that Wang Yan's worries were a bit unnecessary. The meat from the white-armed tiger was not as dry or earthy as he imagined. Instead, it had a texture similar to beef, tough but not greasy. This made him very curious. Why was it like this? How could fierce beast meat taste so good? His family had already started eating happily, bowls in hand, feeling warm and satisfied from the hearty soup. But Zhuohua suddenly noticed Wang Yin holding his bowl in deep thought and asked curiously. Only then did Wang Yin understand his doubt and was relieved. Fierce beasts and humans are natural enemies. Even when facing beast-human hybrids, the same applies. Human meat has a deadly temptation for fierce beasts, and vice versa. A good piece of fierce beast meat can even fetch a good price in the upper markets. Moreover, Zhuohua smiled slightly, lifting her bowl from her lap. Don't you feel a warm sensation in your body after eating fierce beast meat? Besides being very delicious, it also has the effect of strengthening the body. Unexpectedly, fierce beast meat had such effects. Wang Yin instinctively clenched his fists. The emptiness and hunger he had felt disappeared completely, and he felt a warm flow moving through his limbs. As Zhuohua said, it really could enhance physical strength. This stuff is really not bad. If possible, I might need to get more of it in the future, Wang Yin thought secretly. But this idea was quite dangerous. Beasts that others avoid might become targets for hunting if he started playing such a big game. After putting away his thoughts, dinner was over. Wang Yin and Yuli still had layers of blood on their bodies. Others had finished washing up and were preparing to go back to their rooms, but the two of them were still cleaning. To avoid dirtying the water in the basin, everyone used bowls to pour water and wash on the shore. Removing all the blood was clearly a bit difficult. It was quite troublesome, so Wang Yin decided to indulge himself a little. He spent 300 coins to buy a bar of soap. He rubbed it on himself a few times, then handed it to Yoli and said, "Here, this is for you. Just rub it on your body a few times, and it will be easy to clean." Honestly, soap isn't a daily necessity. Wang Yin only bought it now because he had some money. Yoli tilted her head and looked at Wang Yin with a bit of confusion. She took the soap and rubbed it on herself a few times. Seeing the white, smooth foam on her skin, she instinctively leaned in to smell it. "Smells so good. Hee, this stuff is very useful. Just spread it all over your body, and after washing, you'll smell nice." Yuli's big eyes sparkled with tiny stars. Then, to Wang Yan's surprise, her scales slowly faded away, revealing a beautiful figure before his eyes. As a proper person, Wang Yan knew he shouldn't look at a naive girl with inappropriate thoughts. But the secret dam inside him wouldn't listen. Honestly, Yuli's figure was probably the best in her family. She didn't seem like someone who would be hungry for attention. Wang Yin found himself staring a little too long, almost forgetting to wash. Yuli carefully rinsed the foam off her skin with clean water. For some reason, her ears turned slightly red, and her movements became lighter. Do I look good? Huh. Wow, she understood. Oh no. This was going to make him seem like a pervert. Wang Yin hurriedly waved his hands, looking flustered. I just wanted to see if you might be uncomfortable using this." That's all. Then, I've already finished washing," she replied. Wang Yin looked as if he had seen a ghost. On her usually cold face, a faint, almost teasing smile appeared. She didn't say much, only shifted slightly toward Wang Yin without any hesitation. She carefully washed herself, and perhaps it was just his imagination, but Wang Yin felt her movements seemed slower than before. The scene in front of him made Wang Yin feel excited and a bit overwhelmed, so he looked away, feeling a little embarrassed. Seeing this, Yuli couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh softly. Her scales spread again, and she turned back toward the cave with a wooden basin, not looking back. Before leaving, she secretly threw a charming glance at Wang Yin. Who did she learn that from? Honestly, for a moment, Wang Yin really wanted to challenge her to a game. But since he had used up too much energy today, he felt he was too tired and gave up. But he knew he would definitely win her over someday. It was too bold of her to throw a charming look at him. In the following days, everything went smoothly. However, because of the appearance of fierce beasts, the hunting trips were always with Zhuohua and Yuli. Wang Yin stayed at home with the little beast girls, busy building a new house. Life was quite peaceful. They also hung the extra meat in a smoked shelter, but one shelter seemed a bit small, so they built another one. Anyway, they wouldn't lack food this winter. That day, Wang Yin was working on the foundation with a few others when he heard the sound of running. He looked up and saw Zhuohua coming over. She said, "Wang Yin, the traveling merchant has arrived. Come with me to take a look." Wang Yin was a little surprised, realizing winter was almost here. The mysterious merchant finally showed up. He put down his wooden shovel, brushed off the dirt, and went out with Zhuohua. A few little beast girls also carried some items to exchange from the corner where supplies were stored. It was lively for a while. The merchant first went to his hometown, then was led here by Zhuohua, saving a lot of trouble. When Wang Yin stepped out of the cave, a cold wind blew past, making him tighten his clothes. Then he saw the giant whale docked at the edge of the cliff, carrying many goods on its back. A person appeared, and the back of the giant whale skillfully jumped down. Looking around, the girl seemed to be about 1.5 meters tall, with long water blue hair tied into 2 ponytails on each side. She wore a small frog-shaped glasses on her nose and a very exaggerated gold chain around her neck. Her black robe with green patterns looked expensive, though the material was unclear. It had a strong merchant vibe, very obvious and unmistakable. Belle human race age, 26 favorability, 0 talent, insight skills, master of trading, excellent memory, eloquence, ding. Unlocked human race profile, passive effect unlocked, super memory. New items available in the shop, updated. From the moment he gained this new passive ability, Wang Yin felt a cool sensation in his mind, as if a dusty library was instantly cleaned. Things he had seen on Earth, but forgotten now appeared clearly before his eyes. This ability not only deepened his memory, but also greatly increased his mental strength, allowing him to recall many skills and knowledge he had not intentionally learned on Earth, such as short educational videos for daily life and various book knowledge. Now, he could remember everything clearly. Looking again at the shop, Wang Yan's eyes lit up. Wow, a loom costing 5,000 coins was available. That's exactly what he needed. With it, he could produce endless fabric. Seeing the small figure in front of him, Wang Yin smiled happily. This little thing was truly his lucky star. It had just met him and already brought him a big gift. Little Belle and Zhuohua had known each other for a long time. She was well-informed and naturally understood the status of the salamander race in the wall abyss. Honestly, when she first saw a man come out of the cave, she was quite surprised. Among the beast-human hybrids, he seemed to have a leadership aura, which was very intriguing. But why did that guy smile foolishly and grin when he saw her for the first time? Could he be a pervert? Belle's favorability -5. Wang Yin was reminded of something and quickly realized his mistake. He withdrew his gaze. At this moment, Zhuohua spoke. "Belle, this is a new member of our family. His name is Wang Yin, and like you, he is from the human race." Belle nodded gently and asked with some curiosity, "Human race? Are they recently captured wild people? They look a bit different." Hearing Belle's subtle questioning about Wang Yan's identity, Zhuohua naturally understood her meaning. She simply shook her head slightly and explained, "He is a lost traveler. I think he looks decent, so I brought him back to breed with, and I decided to raise him." The breeding part was true, and he did look decent, but the rest was false. Zhuohua's half-truth explanation was to prevent Belle from knowing Wang Yan's true identity and abilities. Although Belle knew her, she was still a traveling merchant. If she found out Wang Yan's secrets, those details might be sold as goods someday. After all, someone who could conjure food out of thin air was too extraordinary to ignore. Hearing Zhuohua's explanation, Belle finally understood what Wang Yan's gaze meant earlier. So he was a stud, and Belle had just been tested? Belle's favorability -10. Belle's disgusted expression was obvious. She believed most of what Zhuohua said, and then stopped discussing the topic, turning to negotiate a deal with her. "This time, I brought a lot of good things. Come up and take a look." Zhuohua nodded and took out the woven basket and dried fruits she had prepared earlier for Belle to examine. Belle only glanced at them, silently calculated for a moment, and then named a price. "These items are less than 1,000 silver. Just round it up to 1,000 for me." Zhuohua had no objection to this price. Although Belle was a shrewd merchant, she hadn't cheated her before. She nodded, feeling the price was fair. On the other side, a cloud whale was entirely blue-green, about 30 meters long, large enough to rival a blue whale. Compared to a blue whale, the cloud whale's fins were broader, like wings. Its back was flat and wide, with a removable wooden platform attached. On this platform was a small to medium-sized warehouse, making it look like a sky fortress. Bell jingled as it blew a whistle toward the cloud whale. The whale understood and moved closer to the cliff edge, its wide fins resting on the side like a deck, allowing people to climb onto the platform behind it. The little beast girls had seen cloud whales before, so they didn't react much. But Wang Yin was seeing one for the first time. Even on Earth, he had only seen such huge creatures in documentaries. When he got close, he truly felt how small he was. Wang Yin didn't say much. He followed the little beast girls onto the fins and onto the whale's back to pick out items. Since Zhuohua wanted to hide her identity, Wang Yin decided to go along with her plan. He just stayed behind the little beast girls, playing the role of a stallion. After all, they were his wife, so he trusted she wouldn't trick him. On the whale's back, Bell opened the storage door. Seeing the many goods on the shelves, Wang Yin, even though used to shopping on Earth, couldn't help but feel surprised. The shelves inside looked like those from medieval Western times, made of wood and filled with food, daily necessities, and crafts. He wondered how so many items could be kept steady on such a big whale's back. Usually, Zhuohua would exchange all her money for potatoes or sometimes just buy daily items. But now, things were different. With Wang Yan's ability, Zhuohua didn't care much about food anymore. She casually came over to Wang Yan, and he understood her meaning. She was asking him to decide what to buy. A few little beast girls had already scattered around, no longer worried about food. Zhuohua had promised them earlier that this year, when they traveled for trade, each could pick one item to buy. So, only Zhuohua was helping Wang Yan choose. Now, including Zhuohua, all the little beast girls looked to Wang Yan as their leader. They trusted his plans because everyone knew Wang Yan's abilities. If Wang Yan had a plan, he had already thought of what was missing. After a few rounds with Zhuohua, he found what he wanted, and he wasn't disappointed. Zhuohua, what's going on this year? I see you're not buying grain. Why are you buying these things? As a result of a few people shopping, Zhuohua picked up a jar of coarse salt, 2 simple spindles, and a carving knife, along with some miscellaneous items bought by others. Besides Gigi, who only took a pack of biscuits, there was no other food seen. Zhuohua had already prepared her excuse and said to Ling Dang, "Recently, due to some coincidences, I broke through to the second meridian. Just a few days ago, I encountered a fierce beast. After killing it, I won't lack food anymore. I also used it to exchange for some things the girls like and useful tools." Ling Dang looked at the spindle and carving knife in her hand, squinted, and said nothing, just chuckled. "Hee, that's really good news. Congratulations." The two exchanged polite words, each aware of the other's little thoughts, but didn't reveal anything. After a few casual sentences, Ling Dang nodded and said, "The total is 954 silver. I will give you the remaining 46 silver later." However, Zhuohua waved her hand to stop Ling Dang and said, "I want to buy one more thing." Zhuohua paused, her pink eyes carrying a hint of mystery. Regarding the recent strengthening of strange beasts and the migration of fierce beasts, how much does the information cost? Ling Dang didn't seem surprised by this and appeared to have expected Zhuohua to ask. She spread her hands and said, "Well, you really asked the right person. I did inquire about this before, but I need to correct you first. The strengthening of strange beasts and the migration of fierce beasts are 2 different things, and they require paying 2 different prices." At this point, Ling Dang's eyes flashed with a cunning look. "Both are priced at 1,000 silver. Sure enough, she's a shrewd merchant, waiting here just for them." As a smart person, Zhuohua, noticing something was off with the environment lately, could only ask Ling Dang, who was traveling merchant, and Ling Dang took advantage of Zhuohua's thoughts, selling this information at a high price. Zhuohua was slightly stunned, gently holding her chin and pondering. This price was definitely beyond what they could afford. At this moment, Wang Yin tugged at her sleeve, subtly slipping a hard object into her palm. Feeling the round object, Zhuohua understood immediately and said, "All right, I have something else here. Take a look and tell me how much it's worth." Upon hearing this, Little Belle became interested. Could it be that they still have good items hidden away? Now she had to take a good look. Seeing the small pocket watch that Zhuohua took out, Belle's eyes widened. She quickly grabbed it from Zhuohua's hand, examined it in her palm, and played with it. Seeing her reaction, Zhuohua chuckled softly and explained. This pocket watch was a gift from King Tooth 16 to the Rat Knights. You know what it's made of, right? Her meaning was clear. She was showing Belle that she knew the value, and there was no way to bargain down the price. Belle wiped the pocket watch against her chest. Its shiny gold exterior looked simple yet noble. She turned her eyes a couple of times before replying. This is a good item. It was given by the royal family of the Rat Kingdom. Even I don't see such things often. But I remember that these special royal pocket watches usually have a photo of the Rat King inside. Why isn't there one here? Before handing the pocket watch to Belle, Wang Yin had torn off the photo of King Tooth 16 inside it. It might be useful later if she met other rats, but Zhuohua didn't know this. She just looked up slightly and answered her question. This watch was given to us by a rat woman we rescued from Rat Potato City. She wanted to thank us, so she gave it to us. When we got it, there was nothing inside. Belle had heard about Rat Potato City's fall. Her explanation made sense. She thought for a moment, scratched her head, and said apologetically, "Oh, I see. It's definitely made by rat craftsmen, but without the Rat King's photo. It's hard to tell if it's a royal gift. How about this? 2,000 silver coins. That's enough to exchange for 2 pieces of information. Neither side loses out. What do you think?" Zhuohua sighed slightly, but she could accept this result. She only wanted to get the information from Belle. Since Wang Yin wanted to trade the pocket watch, it meant it wasn't very useful to him. She could step back a little. "All right then. The pocket watch is yours. Now, tell me about your information." Belle chuckled, and then put the gold-plated pocket watch into her pocket, snapping her fingers. "Indeed, you are from the Salamander tribe, straightforward and honest. I enjoy doing business with your tribe because everyone is smart and we can avoid many troubles. Now, I won't keep you in suspense. Honestly, these 2 matters are not directly related. I'll just share what I know." Belle hands on hips, recalling her memories before slowly sharing her information. The problem with the strange beasts is actually quite simple. Recently, a group called the Withered Tree Cult has appeared in the lower levels. From what I see, they seem more like a cult. They are active in the middle and lower areas. I don't know exactly what they are doing, but it seems they can control the strange beasts' movements, which has caused a lot of panic among the middle-level folks. Things are getting pretty serious, and some people have started leading efforts to suppress them. So, it's not that the strength of the beast attacks from your lower levels has changed. The whole middle and lower levels are in chaos, and the main troublemaker is this so-called Withered Tree Cult. I remember they are said to perform sacrifices involving living people. Oh, and the fall of Mouse Potato City is also connected to this group. Apart from Wang Yin and Zhuohua, the other little beast girls looked confused. What were they talking about? Cults? Sacrifices? They couldn't understand it all. That's about it. But controlling the strange beasts is definitely very unusual. It has caught the attention of the top leaders. I think it won't be long before the top authorities wipe out the Withered Tree Cult. Once that happens, the strength of the strange beasts will return to normal. Just keep an eye on things these days. Zhuohua nodded lightly. Understanding dawned in her mind. Still, she felt a bit uneasy. Controlling strange beasts was something she had never heard of before. All right, I understand. What about the other matter? Regarding the ferocious beasts, honestly, asking others about this might not get you much. This issue isn't as big as the previous one. The migration of ferocious beasts only happens in your small area. Other places don't have this problem. Somewhere above your area, at a distance, a very powerful entity appeared. It hasn't caused any chaos, and I don't know what it is. I only know that the nearby ferocious beasts smell it and run away in fear. That's why they moved down to your area. After saying that, Belle jingled her bell and shrugged casually. I only happened to notice this by chance. It's not a big deal right now, but I feel it won't be long before someone notices. When that happens, who knows what will happen. With that, she handed over a pocket watch given by a white fruit, which contained 2 pieces of information. Both were somewhat vague, but still believable. They were trouble that might be dealt with by others after some time. Zhuohua also relaxed a little, feeling relieved that she now understood what was going on. As long as she stayed at home, there was no problem. Once she understood everything, the deal was successfully completed. The little beast girls each got what they wanted, and they all happily left the Cloud Whale. Zhuohua exchanged polite words with Belle, said goodbye, and then also descended from the Cloud Whale. Belle whistled softly, and the cloud whale let out a long, whale-like call, sounding like a steamship's horn before departure. It retracted its fins from the cliff edge, and with a flick of its tail, as if diving into the ocean, it disappeared into the vast clouds. Standing on top of the cloud whale, the wind was gentle, only disturbing Belle's hair. She gazed toward the direction of Zhaohua and her friend's new home, lost in thought about the sea creature and the so-called stud horse, feeling a bit distracted. Is it really a stud horse? She curled her lips, as if she had found something interesting. Looks like. I need to check this out. Back home, Wang Yin organized the information and drew two conclusions. The chaos among the exotic beasts and their increased strength were caused by an organization called the Withered Tree Cult, which performed live sacrifices, leading to changes among the lower and middle-tier exotic beasts. Their family was completely affected, caught in an unintended disaster. But the problem with the ferocious beasts is more complicated. According to Belle, there was a very fierce presence somewhere above them, which drove all the nearby ferocious beasts to the lower levels. She said it wouldn't be long before others noticed and dealt with it. But what if no one intervenes? If there are ferocious beasts wandering near their home, Wang Yin thought he wouldn't sleep well. He needed to pay close attention to this matter. Even if he couldn't solve it himself, he wanted to learn more. He didn't want the little beast girls to be suddenly attacked by ferocious beasts when they went out. She let out a soft sigh, and a small knot appeared on Wang Yan's brow. Zhuohua smiled calmly and stepped forward, holding his arm gently. She whispered, "What's wrong? Are you worried?" Seeing that Zhuohua had noticed, Wang Yan nodded and replied, "Yes, those so-called strange beasts are easy to avoid. I just stay inside at night. But these fierce beasts, there's no way to be completely safe. I'm really afraid that one day someone will go out and encounter them." Zhuohua looked at her four younger sisters, who were sharing what they had bought, and a hint of worry appeared in her eyes. After a moment, she tiptoed and gently pressed her hand on Wang Yan's forehead, whispering, "Since that's the case, let's think of a way together. I don't like seeing you with a worried face. We can face any problem together." She rested her chin on Wang Yan's shoulder and whispered a few more words into his ear. "All right, don't think about it anymore. You seem a bit upset. How about we go out for a walk?" Wang Yan knew what she meant by going out for a walk. Recently, he had been very busy, and it had been a while since they shared their supplies. Zhuohua took his hand, and before he could answer, she led him out of the cave. "Hey, it's already this time." Zhuohua and Wang Yan went out together. "What are they doing?" Xiao Zizi wiped the crumbs from the corner of her mouth and asked curiously. "Yes," Yuli responded instinctively, causing the other three to look up at her. She quickly realized the implication of her words and hurriedly waved her hands to explain. "I mean, Zizi is right. What are they doing out there? It's hard to guess." Meow Meow shrugged and said, "Maybe they have some little secrets to talk about, Meow." After all, Wang Yin is quite mysterious. Several times, I couldn't figure out what was in his mind. He just arranges everything. Talking about Wang Yin, Yingluo looked at the glass stone bracelet in her palm and suddenly sighed, looking downcast as she said, "Hey, do you think? When will I be able to have Wang Yan's child, Zizi?" "Why you?" Yuli. Seeing her sister's confused expressions, Yingluo looked puzzled and asked, "What's wrong?" "At first, I brought him back because I wanted him to help us have children and increase our population. Why are you all making such a big fuss?" Squeak nodded and then took a bite of a cookie. "Well, just thinking that since you mentioned it, maybe we should try mating with him too." "Yes, Meow. Sister Zhuohua once said that only with a man can a woman have children. It seems I need to try more with Wang Yin, Meow. I can't fall behind you all, Meow." Yuli's usually serious face twitched slightly, and she asked Jingluo, "Jingluo, have you really mated with Wang Yin?" Jingluo nodded confidently, touching her chin, and said a bit worried, "Yes, I do it with Wang Yin every night. But there's been no change in my belly, which is really strange." Yuli still felt a bit uneasy and asked several more details. Sure enough, Jingluo thought that sleeping together was the same as mating. Yuli, For these sisters, Yuli was momentarily at a loss for words. But she also thought that their way of thinking was quite good, at least different from her own experience. After thinking carefully, Yuli took a few steps toward Jingluo and whispered softly, "Do you really want to have children with Wang Yin?" Jingluo nodded without hesitation. "Of course. There are so few people here. If we want to become a big tribe like Sister Zhuohua said, we definitely need to have children. Yuli looked at her big, bright eyes and thought for a moment. Then she leaned close to Jingluo's ear and whispered a few words. Jingluo was initially confused about what Yuli was going to say, but after Yuli finished, she just imagined it in her mind. Her ears turned red, her heart pounded, and her legs felt a bit weak. Yuli, is this really okay? Yuli patted Jingluo's shoulder and gave her a reassuring look. Just do as I say when the time comes. You'll understand then. Squeak, what are you all talking about? Why does everyone sound so secretive? Yingluo awkwardly smiled and waved her hand, changing the subject. Honestly, it was the first time she learned such straightforward facts about relationships. If she really were to be with Wang Yan. No, just thinking about it made her legs feel weak. The merchant left, which meant autumn was almost over. Because they were running low on supplies, their top priority was to gather fabric. Wang Yan had been saving points these days to buy a loom from the marketplace. With it, they could make suitable cotton clothes for everyone at home. During this time of saving points, Wang Yan was not idle. He bought 2 spindles from Xiao Lingdang. They were very easy to use. After a little instruction, a few little beast girls quickly learned to spin cotton into thread. Wang Yan also used a carving knife to work on wood, which made things much easier. This tool helped shape the wood more neatly and made the board smoother. As a result, the quality of the wood they processed improved. Now, inside the cave, with everyone working hard together, everything looked lively and prosperous. There was plenty of food, vegetables, and meat, and the temperature was mild and refreshing. Honestly, this was the happiest time the little beast girls had ever experienced. They didn't have to worry about food or the weather. It was wonderful. Also, there will definitely be no scenes involving mythical creatures or inappropriate content. If such scenes appear, I will delete the story immediately. Rest assured, it's suitable for all readers. The last autumn leaf was carried away by the cold wind, and the first snowflake eagerly fell to the ground. Soon, everything was covered in a layer of silver white. Wang Yan felt the cold snow melt in his palm. He knew winter had arrived. Just as Wang Yan looked up at the sky, suddenly, the sky darkened without warning for a few seconds. But it quickly returned to normal. Wang Yan frowned and asked Zhaohua beside him about it. Zhaohua was also confused. She had never experienced such a sudden dimming of the sky during the day before. However, Wang Yan didn't take this matter seriously, thinking it was just like witnessing a solar eclipse. After all, he had experienced similar things on Earth before. Zhuohua told him that the first snow in Wall Abyss would last for several days. Wang Yan took her into the cave, sealing the entrance with a large stone. They would wait until everyone's winter clothes were brought out before going outside again. Wang Yan had used all his points to buy bricks and cement. Honestly, he didn't have much money left. He checked his points. There were still 3,250. He shook his head lightly. That wasn't enough. His current rate was about 300 points every 2 days, which was starting to feel insufficient. So, Wang Yan spent some points to buy 2 more plots of land, costing 1,200 and 1,600 points respectively, totaling 2,800 points. Now he owned 7 plots. With this, considering that cotton yields 15 kilograms per acre and each kilogram sells for 4 points, Wang Yan's points earned every 2 days had increased to 420. It wasn't a lot, but it was better than nothing. Next, he faced a long wait. A weaving machine would cost 5,000 points. At his current rate, it would take about 11 days to save enough. As he mentally calculated, Wang Yan suddenly remembered that in a few days, he had a scheduled meeting with Dilia. He needed to return to his hometown. Since he hadn't taken Dilia to their new home, he guessed the mechanical device they planned to deploy would arrive at the original location. A few days passed outside, but Wang Yan himself didn't realize it. Inside the cave, there was no sense of time. The family relied on instinct to plan their daily routines. Wang Yan didn't know if it was still snowing outside, so he decided to go out and check. Just then, Zhuohua suddenly called him, looking a bit nervous, as if she wanted to discuss something important. Her pink eyes looked up at Wang Yan and slowly said, "Wang Yan, I want to talk to you about something. The rat family from the Mouse City that's fleeing." As soon as Zhuohua spoke, Wang Yan immediately understood her meaning. Not wanting his woman to be troubled, he quickly replied, "Oh, I remember what you're talking about. I was just about to discuss that with you too. While speaking, Wang Yin rubbed his hands and smiled flatteringly at Zhuohua, explaining, I want to bring that family here. After all, it's freezing outside, and if they freeze to death, it would be a waste. It's better to bring them over, give them some food each day, and they can help us work. Right now, we really need more people. You wouldn't oppose this, would you? Zhuohua was a bit stunned. She didn't expect Wang Yin to say exactly what she was about to say. A warm feeling rose in her heart. This guy was really thoughtful. She could tell he was just trying to take care of her, which was why he said that. A weak, sickly mouse woman, along with 3 hungry mouse children, couldn't do much work. Bringing them here would only be a burden. Leaving such a family in the freezing cold outside would surely get them killed. Zhuohua felt sorry for them and told Wang Yin so. But all the good life they had now came from this man in front of her. She couldn't ask him to take on more burdens. She could only discuss it gently. To her surprise, Wang Yan's concern for her feelings made Zhuohua's eyes sting a little, but a sweet smile appeared on her face. Her lonely heart, long silent, now tasted a hint of sweetness. Could this be love? Zhuohua wasn't disappointed. She cooperated with Wang Yan, placing her hands on her hips, looking a bit reluctant, and said, Fine, I agree. But be careful and come back soon. Wang Yan clapped softly, acting playful. He gently kissed her on the side of her face and whispered very softly, I knew it. My wife is the best. Zhuohua's mind went blank. Honestly, it was the first time someone called her that. She didn't know why, but her heart was pounding hard. She clutched her fur inner garment tightly over her chest, her face blushing like a peach blossom, lips moving slightly. She looked like a girl in love. How could he call me wife? Wang Yin didn't realize how much his words affected Zhuohua. He had already gone inside to change clothes. He had once drawn a lottery and received a set of cotton clothes, which he was just about to wear now. Wearing her clothes tightly wrapped, Wang Yin finally prepared to break open the rocks and leave the cave. However, before he could step out, a voice called out from behind him, stopping him. Wang Yin, he instinctively turned around and saw Yingluo looking at him with a hopeful face. Yingluo wagged her big tail and clenched her 2 pink fists, saying, Wang Yin, I just heard you say you're going to bring back that little mouse from before. I want to go with you. Wang Yin frowned slightly and said, It's very cold outside now. Just wait at home for me. At this moment, Squeak came over and pretended to put a hand on Yingluo's shoulder. But since he was only about 1.5 meters tall, it looked a bit funny. He agreed. Yingluo is the most resistant to the cold among us. If not her, then it should be me and you. Bring her along. That way, you and Yingluo can look out for each other. Resistant to the cold? Wang Yin looked a bit confused. Then he thought it over and realized he should find someone to go with him. Not to mention those 2 little mice. If they couldn't walk, he would have to carry one. He really needed a helper. All right, Yingluo, you can come with me first. But if you start feeling cold, tell me right away, understand? Yingluo saw Wang Yin agreed, and her pink-gray tail wagged faster. She quickly nodded and followed Wang Yin briskly. After many days, Wang Yin finally broke through the large stone blocking the cave entrance. The 2 saw the sunlight again. Wang Yin instinctively raised his hand to block the sun and squinted. The setting sun was blood red, contrasting sharply with the silver-white snow, like orange-red ink spilled on white paper. Is it almost evening? We've been in the cave so long I forgot the time. All right, let's hurry. Wherever we go, that's where we'll stop. Quick comments. I'm about to make a fuss. I already am. Fortunately, it seemed she wasn't very cold. Wang Yin carefully observed her for a while. She didn't appear to be pretending. He reached out and touched her small hand, which was very warm, like a heating pad. Only then did Wang Yin feel relieved and focus on leading Yingluo along the way. If they left from the new home, Wang Yin estimated it would take about 3 hours to reach the Baigua family's place. However, in this snowy, icy weather, the travel time would likely be shorter because their speed would slow down. After about an hour of walking with Yingluo, it became too dark to see the road clearly. There was no choice but to find a cave to spend the night. After all, the most common thing in Wallabiss was caves. Soon, Wang Yin found a suitable spot, and the 2 of them crawled inside together. Wang Yin gathered some wood, but most of it was soaked with snow and difficult to light. He took some cotton from the storage to use as tinder. He then took out his military knife and kept rubbing the fire starter to ignite it. It took a lot of effort before he finally lit the campfire. To prevent the wind from blowing out the fire, Wang Yin took out a thick piece of animal hide, made from the white-armed tiger skin that the young beast girls had tanned earlier. It kept the warmth in and blocked the wind. He hung it at the cave entrance. With Wang Yin busy working, the cave quickly became warm and cozy. Watching him work so hard, Yingluo's gaze stayed on him. She couldn't help much, so she sat by the fire, resting her chin on her hands. Her bright green eyes blinked constantly as she thought about something. Wang Yin is really reliable, she thought instinctively. Actually, Yingluo didn't come out just to help Wang Yin. She also had her own little thoughts. A few days ago, Yuli taught her some things. No, just thinking about it makes her legs feel weak. What if it really happened? That would be terrible. Yingluo, you need to be brave. Sister Yuli said that men also like this kind of thing. Since she couldn't help much, then she could help him in another way. While the big fox was lost in inner conflict and wild thoughts, Wang Yin finished his work and noticed her. At this moment, Yingluo had no idea what she looked like. Her grayish-pink tail was wrapped around her legs, and she was covering her already blushing cheeks with her hands. Her lively fox ears drooped down, unaware of how adorable her shy behavior appeared. Wang Yan's throat went dry. He gently patted Yingluo's shoulder, which startled her and made her jump. Ah! Feeling a bit embarrassed, Wang Yin instinctively asked, "What are you thinking about?" Yingluo realized her reaction was a bit too much, and her face turned even redder. The crackling campfire flickered softly, casting an orange-red glow over her face like a veil, making her look both charming and cute. "It's getting late. Let's rest now." Wang Yin was a little surprised. He didn't know why Yingluo was in such a hurry, but he sensed that something was about to happen. He wasn't stupid and noticed Yingluo's unusual behavior. He didn't say much. Quietly, he laid out the mattress and blankets, tidied up a bit, then took Yingluo into the bed together. Both of them returned to their original, simple forms without speaking about what was to come next. As soon as they got into bed, Yingluo climbed on top like an octopus. Clumsily, she tried to kiss Wang Yin, which made him find her awkwardness quite adorable. After thinking for a moment, Wang Yin finally chuckled softly, pulled Yingluo into his arms, and whispered in her ear, "Who taught you that?" Sister Yuli." She puffed out her cheeks in displeasure and said, "I didn't know, so it's fine." "But why? Don't you want to be with me?" Wang Yin held her tighter, moved his hand slightly, and rested it somewhere intimate. "Yikes, I'm just worried you'll be scared. Actually, I've wanted to eat you for a long time." One turn over, Wang Yin looked into her eyes. Maybe because he was too nervous, Yingluo unconsciously bit her lip, which made her pink lips look a little more charming, like two dewy flowers opening and closing, with the scent of lychee and peach lingering in the air, stirring the heart. Perhaps out of shyness, Yingluo turned her head away, afraid to meet those intense eyes. Seeing the delicate girl in front of him, Wang Yin couldn't help feeling a deep affection. "Yingluo," a soft whisper echoed in his ear, nibbling gently on her earlobe. With the gentlest touch, Wang Yin knew that tonight, she belonged to him. They slept deeply through the night. The young fox, having tasted the forbidden fruit for the first time, was uncontrollable. For a moment, Wang Yin found it hard to handle her. Fortunately, when they woke up the next day, it didn't affect him much. Yingluo's face showed no signs of tiredness, but instead had a rosy glow. The only change might be that she seemed to have transformed from a girl into a woman. After being intimate with Wang Yin, Yingluo seemed more clingy. As soon as she opened her eyes, she snuggled into his arms, wanting a hug. Her tail gently swayed under the blanket, like a happy little dog. Wang Yin looked at the silly girl in front of him, feeling a wave of sweetness in his heart. But since they had a task to do, he had to hold her head and say, all right, no more hugging now. We need to get up. Once we bring the Bai family back, you can hug as long as you want." "Huh?" Yingluo pouted, seeming a bit reluctant. But she wasn't the unreasonable type. She understood the importance of the matter. Though a little unhappy, she nodded obediently. To make up for the young fox, Wang Yin gently kissed her on the head, which improved her mood. The two dressed and prepared to leave the cave. "By the way, Wang Yin, I wanted to tell you something last night." Yingluo touched her lips with her finger, as if thinking. After last night, I felt something very special. It's strange, I can't quite explain it. It's like feeling hot all over. Ingluo also knew that her explanation was not very clear and felt a bit annoyed. She continued to try to explain, well, it's just, kind of like it's about to catch fire. Catch fire? Ingluo wasn't sure how to describe that feeling. She kept recalling the special sensation from last night. Somehow, her body seemed to grow hotter and hotter, and then she ignited. Wow, yes, literally. Ingluo's whole body was on fire. The intense heat melted the snow beneath her feet. The scene in front of her made Wang Yin almost drop his jaw in shock. Please write a book review and give a 5-star rating. I want 5 stars. I need a 5-star review. Her light gray hair and fluffy fox tail suddenly turned into blazing flames. Wang Yin instinctively took 2 steps back. At first, he was a little panicked, but when he saw that Ingluo showed no signs of resistance, he calmed down and carefully observed her. All her hair has turned into flames, and they are warm, but they haven't burned her clothes. That's strange. Ingluo, are you feeling uncomfortable anywhere? To make sure there was no danger, Wang Yin asked her carefully. Ingluo shook her head and said, I'm not uncomfortable, but I feel like I have endless energy. As she spoke, she focused all her attention on her body. Then she slowly gathered that mysterious power into her palms. With a loud burst, a bright flame floated right in her hands. Wang Yin thought about this. He had expected Ingluo to suddenly awaken the ability to control fire, so this was a happy surprise. He opened Ingluo's profile to check again. Sure enough, his guess was correct. Ingluo had indeed awakened a special ability. Silk Weaving Ingluo Fox Clan Age. 19 Favorability. 100 Talent. Fire Spirit Skills. Social Mastery. Innate Spiritual Ability. Solar Blessing. Fire Affinity. This new ability called Fire Spirit was what Ingluo had awakened. At the same time, she gained a new skill called Fire Affinity, which made Wang Yan's eyes light up. Suddenly, I unlocked a special ability, which was completely an unexpected surprise. No, wait, I think something similar happened before. Wang Yan's thoughts drifted back to a month ago, during the time with Zhuohua. She also mentioned something about having broken through or improved her skills. Maybe it was just a coincidence once, but twice? Could it be that I really have some kind of hidden ability? Wang Yin shook his head, feeling that such things were hard to believe. Unless there was a third time to confirm it. He decided not to think too much about it. Wang Yin and Ingluo did a few simple experiments and drew some conclusions about this talent. Ingluo's burning hair and tail definitely had heat, but it seemed controllable. When Wang Yin reached out his hand, he didn't feel any heat. Holding flames in his palm felt quite strange and interesting. Next was controlling the flames. Maybe because Ingluo's awakening was new, she was a bit unfamiliar, but her control was very flexible. She could manipulate the flames to explode or gather into a line. However, after using her powers for a while, she felt very tired, and her head would ache a little, but she could ignore it. Knowing this, Wang Yin decided not to probe further into this ability. He would wait until they got home to tell Zhuohua, who would definitely know what to do. They set out again, moving a bit faster. Just as the sun was rising, they arrived near Baigua's family's place. Honestly, Wang Yin had his own plans for adopting Baigua's family. Since they had a spacious and safe environment, their home was developing very quickly. Now, they were short of people, and some simple chores naturally needed help. Having more clean background people was always better. Heavy stones were covered with snow and wind. If Wang Yin hadn't looked carefully, he wouldn't have found the entrance. He gently knocked on the big stone, but there was no response. His heart sank a little. Thinking of this, Wang Yin felt a bad premonition. He immediately ordered Ingluo to use flames to burn and block the hole with stones. When the stones turned black, Wang Yin took out an iron axe and struck the large rock hard with the back of the axe. Soon, the big stone was shattered into pieces. Wang Yin didn't delay at all. He climbed inside to look for the white fruit family. Sure enough, he saw a family of 4 huddled together on a grass bed. Despite the loud noise outside, they didn't react. Wang Yin sensed something was wrong. He quickly went forward to check. The good news was that everyone was still alive, but the bad news was that they were very close to death. White Fruit and Little Biscuit were lying on opposite sides, protecting the small cake and tiny mouse in the middle. Wang Yin checked their breathing. Except for the tiny mouse still in the blanket, the others had swelling or even sores on their skin. If he hadn't come in time, the whole family might have died here. Ingluo saw what was happening and covered her mouth with her hands, her eyes trembling slightly. She asked softly, Are they all dead? Wang Yin gently shook his head and explained, No, not yet. Ingluo, go outside and find some firewood. As much as you can. They are all frostbitten, so we need to hurry. Hearing that they weren't dead, Ingluo relaxed a little. She quickly climbed out of the hole and prepared the firewood efficiently. A spark caught, and the bonfire started to burn. Frostbite has 4 levels. First degree is the mildest, causing redness and itching. Second degree involves sores and ulcers. Wang Yin checked them carefully. Luckily, only white fruit had some sores. The others only had redness and swelling. As long as it wasn't 3rd degree or worse, it could be treated. Wang Yin laid a mat on the ground, took out a white-armed tiger fur to block the wind, and helped everyone up. He covered them with leather to keep warm. The bonfire burned very brightly. Wang Yin added more firewood. The potatoes he left for White Fruit's family earlier in the cave had frozen into ice blocks and couldn't be eaten anymore. He took out the last 2 cans of beef stew from the storage, opened them, and heated the contents by the fire. Then he fed small amounts to each person. As warmth entered their bodies, the family's fragile lives were barely hanging on, thanks to Wang Yan's efforts. Waikwa had never felt her eyelids so heavy before. Luckily, a warm flow of energy warmed her stomach. Is this meat soup? It's so cozy around here. Surely, I am already dead. It's just that the children are suffering. They suffered because of me. I'm sorry, children. Mrs. Baigua. Wake up, don't sleep. Who is calling her? The voice sounds very nice, like she's heard it somewhere before. Waikwa tries to open her eyes, but she can't lift her strength. Her whole body is sore and itchy from frostbite. Mrs. Baigua, for your children's sake, you must not die. Ingluo is holding several children. Her long hair, woven with firework-like strands, forms a net that covers everyone. Inside the cave, the temperature is warm like spring. Ingluo shines brightly, like a small sun, warming everyone. Finally, Waikwa's eyelids open a little. She sees a girl with flames burning all over her body and a shadow whose face she can't see clearly. She is not dead, and the children are safe. The big-horned rat is above them. We survived. Everyone, I will like all the good reviews. If I haven't liked yours, it probably means your comment didn't go through. Please, everyone who took the time to write a review and rate, check again. Thank you so much, Wah. It hurts so much, so itchy. My body feels terrible. The rescue was successful. After drinking the warm meat soup, the 2 little mice woke up. Not long after waking, they started crying and hiding in Waikwa's arms, wiping tears. Frostbite causes not only pain but also severe itching, and these 2 children couldn't stand it. Wang Yin didn't have many options. Let them cry if they want, better than dying without being able to cry. Master, thank you so much. Thank you for saving our family. We really don't know how to thank you. If you don't mind, our family is willing to do anything for you. Wang Yin twitched his mouth. Long-term free meals, huh? But he really came today to take their family away. After all, the house is too short of people right now. Wang Yin didn't want to give Baigua's family much rest time. He coldly said, Then you'd better prepare to serve me as a for life. Hurry up, since it's noon now, let's quickly go back. I came to take you all to work for me. Ingluo looked up at Wang Yin. Although she felt sorry for the frostbitten mice, she knew he was right. There was no point in delaying further. They could rest once they got home. Yes, Lady Baigua, come with us. We found a new home that's warm like spring, with plenty of food. You won't have to worry about being hungry every day. Come with us. Go with you? Baigua stared blankly and repeated. Even the 2 little mice in her arms, who were wiping tears, stopped crying. Go home with the master, Mom. Mom, the master is very kind. He gives us food. He's a good person. Please say yes. Her eyes filled with tears. Baigua was too scared to refuse. She worried Wang Yin might change his mind. Choking up, she held her children's heads, and the 3 of them knelt on the ground. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Wang Yin rubbed his forehead. Honestly, he didn't like this kind of scene, but he didn't say anything. He didn't look again and simply waved his hand lightly. Hurry up and pack. Don't delay too long. Luo covered her mouth and chuckled softly. This guy? Just a moment ago, he looked very anxious. Now he's acting so calm. It's kind of cute. Following Wang Yan's instructions, they didn't have much to take. They quickly left the cave. But there was still a problem. Besides the one still nursing, Baigua's family had all suffered some frostbite. If they traveled normally, it would slow them down, so they needed special arrangements. So, Wang Yan held one mouse in each hand, carrying the two little mice. They were small, and being held in his arms, they felt like holding two big cabbages, not heavy at all. Baigua still had some ability to move, so she carried the tiny mouse, with Luo helping her walk. Even so, their speed was greatly affected. They walked for 6 hours, stopping and adjusting their pace from time to time. Fortunately, they finally arrived home before nightfall. When the family was brought into the cave, a warm, gentle breeze immediately greeted them. Soon after, tiny glowing lights flickered through the dappled vines, shining on their faces. The family of mice couldn't help but open their eyes wide. This is the master's home? Is this heaven? Seeing Wang Yan and Luo bring the people back, several small animal girls stopped their work and came forward to greet them. Especially Cici, the little mouse girl, who was so happy to see her own kind. Wow, wow, wow. It's another mouse. Cici circled around the white fruit twice, then teased the sleeping little mouse, finally focusing her gaze on the two tiny heads peeking out from Wang Yan's coat. The two little mice were startled when they saw Cici's behavior and quickly hid, seeming shy and nervous, whispering inside the coat. Little Cake, sister, that sister outside is so strange. Is she also a mouse? Little Biscuit, don't say that randomly. It's rude to call others strange. We should go say hello to her. The two little mice whispered to each other, and Wang Yan heard everything clearly. He couldn't help but smile slightly, rubbing Cici's reddish-brown head, and said, "Be good, don't scare her." Two big ears slowly popped out, and the two little mice timidly said together, "Hello, sister." So cute. Cici couldn't resist the temptation of two things, delicious food and adorable things. Seeing the two mice huddled together, her heart almost melted. Come on, let sister hold you. I'm also a mouse." Wang Yin gently tugged her big ears and said, all right. Calm down for a bit. The whole family is injured. We've been traveling all day. Let's eat first." He unzipped her coat and set the two mice down. Zhuohua smiled slightly at the white fruit, then stepped forward and took her hand. "Madame Baigua, we warmly welcome you to join our big family. From now on, we are one family, and everyone can look out for each other." But as soon as she finished speaking, Baigua knelt down sincerely and said, "Thank you for your kindness, madam. I dare not become part of the master's family. Our family has no face for that. We only hope to serve as laborers here to repay the master's kindness in taking us in." Zhuohua slightly raised her eyes and met Wang Yan's gaze. Wang Yan just shrugged, indicating he didn't ask for this. Baigua felt guilty and insisted on lowering her status to serve him. No, wait. He did say they should serve as slaves. Forget it. Whatever happens, happens. As long as they can work, Wang Yin doesn't care about status. If they obey and work, they get food. If they cause trouble or slack off, they get kicked out. That's his idea. Zhuohua didn't say much more. She took a few people to eat dinner first. To celebrate the new family member, Hua Yu specially cooked a big pot of potato soup with smoked beast meat, adding MSG and salt for flavor. It wasn't much for the little beast girls, but for the newcomers, it was a rare treat. After dinner, Wang Yin found a place to settle Baigua's family. The house was almost full, so he found a quiet corner to sleep outside. In this way, Baigua's family officially joined their group. After Wang Yin arrived, they expanded their family for the first time. So nervous, so nervous. The story is about to be published. Please, everyone help me. So far, Wang Yan's medical supplies seem quite limited. For frostbite, he has no good solution, so he just told everyone to endure it and tough it out. They used hay and animal skins to make simple bedding, but for Baigua's family, this was already very good. They never imagined they would have days without cold or hunger, just working to eat and stay warm. Even in Mouse Potato City, such treatment was rare. After settling them in, Wang Yin had one more thing to do. He found Zhuohua and told her about Jing Luo's changes today. Her expression was subtle, with questioning in her pink eyes. She asked Wang Yin, Did you her? Startled by the question, Wang Yin felt like his wife caught him cheating. His back chilled, but seeing Zhuo Hua didn't seem upset, he slowly replied, yes. After that night, Jing Luo awakened. Zhuo Hua lowered her head, thought for a moment, and then continued, I've only had guesses about this kind of situation, but it seems you really do have this ability to help beastkin awaken. Wang Yin frowned and said, could it just be a coincidence? Zhuo Hua spread her hands and shook her head. I don't think so. Let's not even talk about the first awakening ability. For a beastkin to awaken, they usually need very special methods. But sometimes it can happen suddenly, like you're eating, and the next second, you awaken. Only 1 in 10 beastkin can awaken. Maybe with Ying Luo, you could call it luck, but do you know how hard it is for the salamander clan to improve their spiritual veins? We can only rely on something called a fortune pill to do that. A sudden improvement like this has never happened before. Zhuo Hua paused, met Wang Yan's eyes, and smiled slightly. I had this guess before, and now it seems to be true. She didn't finish her sentence, but now that it was clear Wang Yan had this ability, she was already thinking about introducing her other sisters to him. After all, if awakening was possible, it was worth trying. Wang Yan looked bitter. What was this? So in the end, he really was stuck with this strange role. Zhuo Hua lowered her head and chuckled softly, then whispered near his ear, all right, since you've already helped Sister Ying Luo awaken, then later, I'll call her to join us too. Wang Yan. That night, they all rested peacefully. The Baigua family needed time to recover, so Wang Yan didn't plan to assign them any work yet. Since they hadn't earned enough points, they spent their days spinning cotton thread with a spindle, while Wang Yan worked on shaping wooden boards. Life had finally become a bit more relaxed. The 2 little mouse children had only mild frostbite. After a few days, it still itched a little, but not enough to make them cry in their mother's arms. Gigi liked the 2 little ones very much. She acted like their big sister and happily gained 2 little followers. You too. Why is the older sister called Little Biscuit, and the younger one Little Cake? Little Cake pursed her lips, her big eyes full of thought. Her round ears wiggled twice before she softly spoke. Mom told us that when we were very small, she hadn't given us names yet. We cried when we passed by a bread shop, so Mom took us inside to look. I clung tightly to my cake, refusing to let go, and my sister kept crying while pointing at the cookies. That's how we got our names. As she spoke, Little Cake seemed to realize she was a bit embarrassed. A blush appeared on her small face, and she shyly lowered her head. Chi-Chi couldn't help but giggle and laughed while covering her stomach. Greater than over equal to less than over equal to, huh? One of you wouldn't let go of her cake, and the other kept crying and pointing at cookies. You two are so funny. You made me laugh so much. At this moment, Huaiwe slowly approached, having overheard Chi-Chi and the children's conversation. She chuckled and playfully teased, don't laugh at them. You're not much better, you know. Haven't you noticed that among us, your name is the strangest? When Sister Ying Luo was choosing names for us, you couldn't speak yet and only clung to her leg, making noise. Sister got so annoyed, she named you Chi-Chi. Oh, how embarrassing. Huaiwei really shouldn't have revealed that in front of her little brother. Oh, what a shame. Huaiwei ignored her and, feeling playful, decided to tease the 2 mice. By the way, does your sister have a name yet? Little Cookie shook her head and said, no, not yet. Mom wanted to take her to the bread shop again, but since Mouse City was gone, she put off naming her for now. Huayue's lips twitched in amusement. It seems their family's names are all based on bread shops? That's pretty funny. Seeing the girls gathered together, Wang Yin didn't know what they were talking about. He put on his coat and said, I'll go out for a bit. Dilia's things should be arriving soon. Stay at home and wait for me. Who is Dilia? Chi-Chi tilted her head, full of questions. Huayue patted her on the head. She's the winged woman who stayed with us before. What a silly pig brain. Little Zizi covered her head and giggled softly. She remembered something and tiptoed to wave goodbye to Wang Yin, telling him to stay safe and come back early. Wang Yin sighed helplessly and quickly left the cave. But not long after, a grayish figure caught up. Since Ying Luo awakened her new ability, she was no longer afraid of the cold. Even in the freezing winter, she still wore her animal hide underwear and a leather coat. Why did you come along? The big fox wrapped her arm around Wang Yan's, feeling the warm touch clearly through their clothes. I just wanted to spend a little time alone with you, Wang Yan sneered. If he hadn't seen the love hearts in her eyes, he might have believed her. We're going back to our hometown to pick someone up. Don't take too long, okay? Ingluo nodded, then asked curiously, picking someone up? Is there someone new joining us? Wang Yin didn't know how to explain. He guessed that a few little beast girls wouldn't understand the idea of mechanical beings. So he tried to explain, well, it's not exactly a person. It looks like a person, but it's not really human. You can think of it as a tool that looks like a person, just like the one who came to pick up Delia earlier. It only looks like a person. That's hard to understand. Wang Yin decided not to explain further. He figured she'd understand more slowly over time. It's now available. Everyone, please support me. Keep the updates coming. Rate, comment, and share your thoughts. If there's anything you think could be better, let me know. Please support me. Oomph, Wang Yin. Don't. Due to Ingluo awakening her new ability, Wang Yin just did a few yoga poses with her, without doing anything else. Ingluo's neck was sweaty, her face flushed like a ripe lychee, shiny and moist. When they first arrived, the mechanical being hadn't come yet. Wang Yin couldn't resist Ingluo and did some stretching exercises with her, making her sweat a lot and her legs a bit unsteady. However, the two of them did not get too carried away or cause a big commotion. They first cuddled for a while, then suddenly heard a dull thud, like something heavy falling. Wang Yin thought to himself, then quickly composed himself and went outside. What he saw was a huge crater with a spiderweb pattern, matching the one from before. He couldn't help but smile faintly. Was Million always so violent in her entrances? Wang Yin sighed softly. Since no one was living here anymore, he decided to just accept it. The most important thing was to get the mechanical device out. After waiting so long, he could finally see what this so-called machine control center was really for. As the snow mist slowly cleared, Wang Yin stood at the edge of the crater and saw a curled-up white cocoon-like object in the center. Before he could look closer, the glowing cocoon gradually disappeared, revealing a girl hugging her knees. A mechanical sound, like a startup noise, echoed. The girl was dressed in a suit that fit her perfectly, with lines on her cheeks that added a mechanical style. Her long silver hair shimmered brightly in the sunlight, making it hard to look directly at her. The girl floated up, stretching her body like a goddess descending from the sky. Despite her mechanical appearance, she seemed almost sacred, strange yet real. Compared to the mechanical figure Wang Yin saw earlier, who was armed and armored, this girl had no armor or weapons. She only wore a sleek, delicate suit that made her look fragile. The girl slowly opened her eyes. Her bright yellow eyes shone like powerful lamps. After layers of glowing rings overlapped and faded, hundreds of rings gathered in her pupils, which then focused on Wang Yin. It was as if she was checking his identity. Destination reached. Host identity verified. Wang Yin, human male. Target confirmed. Partner model 0348. Deployment complete. Binding successful. Wang Yin looked at Million with some confusion. There was something strange about her, but he couldn't quite put his finger on it. He took a few steps forward, just about to get a better look, when the mechanical girl's eyes suddenly projected an image. Startled, Wang Yin stepped back. When he looked carefully, he saw it was a projection of Delia. When you see this projection, human, I believe you have received the Million. As you requested, I carefully selected this partner model, specially designed with deep female features, assembled with composite biomimetic materials, and a full-scale, realistic replica of the sky spirit's body. I also set up 34 different postures for deep learning to meet your special needs. Because your basic technology is quite outdated, I had to make some special modifications. Now, she has a biomimetic reactor stomach inside, which can generate energy by eating. In addition, I programmed some basic functions so that even if you cannot control her, she can perform simple tasks through voice commands. That's all for the instructions. Human and salamander people, my payment has been delivered as agreed. We owe nothing to each other. If all goes well, we won't have further dealings. That's all. Goodbye. Still looking down on others, still dismissive of humans, Wang Yin has somewhat gotten used to this grumpy attitude. But once the item was delivered, her projection was like a user manual, helping Wang Yin quickly understand how to use it. What really upset Wang Yin was, what does full-scale realistic replica mean? And what the heck is 34 types of deep learning? Alright, so it's really just a fancy way of saying it's a high-quality imitation, huh? Just a big joke. For a moment, Wang Yin was overwhelmed with complaints and didn't know where to start. Now he finally understood what Delia meant when she said understood. Are you kidding me? Wang Yin cursed under his breath. He originally wanted a model similar to Delia's Valkyrie. Even a basic version would do. But how did it turn into a soft weapon? Even though he was internally furious and wanted to rip the feathers off Delia's wings, Wang Yin had to grit his teeth and accept it. Next to him, Yingluo held his arm. The scene just now was beyond her understanding. Although it was hard to grasp, it didn't matter. She didn't need to understand everything. After being with Wang Yin for a long time, many things were beyond her comprehension. Why bother trying to understand everything? She tugged at Wang Yan's sleeve and whispered, "This is the tool you mentioned?" Wang Yin looked at the young girl's beautiful face and graceful figure, feeling completely speechless. What kind of tool was this? It didn't look proper at all. Even though he felt awkward, Wang Yin had no choice but to admit it. Yingluo glanced at him with a strange expression but said nothing more. The girl slowly closed her eyes, then opened them again. This time, her gaze looked normal, with a touch of human warmth. "Hello, master. Do you need any assistance?" Wang Yin was at a loss for words. So, it really wasn't a normal robot. Still, having one was better than nothing. He decided not to dwell on it and focused instead on his passive skill, the mechanical control core he had copied from Delia. For now, he still didn't understand how to activate it, which made things a bit tricky. How do I start this thing? Just as his eyes met those of the girl named Miriam, a strange sensation rushed into his mind, making his pupils contract. It was like a human with 5 fingers suddenly trying to control a 6th, an entirely new experience. In that instant of eye contact, the mechanical control core linked them together, forming a direct connection between Wang Yin and Miriam. Now, Miriam could be considered an extension of Wang Yin himself. Everything she did, saw, or heard was clearly transmitted to his mind. He wasn't sure how far the control range extended, but if used well, this ability could be incredibly powerful. After trying out the control for a while, Wang Yin found it manageable, not too difficult. What surprised him even more was that after he finished controlling the unit, he discovered that Miriam's developer mode hadn't been turned off. Perhaps Delia hadn't expected him to actually gain control of the machine, which gave him a lot of freedom. That was a relief. As he thought, such an advanced intelligent machine couldn't possibly have only one mode. After a bit of adjustment, he found that it also had a normal working mode. In this mode, Miriam could handle complex tasks such as construction, weaving, or processing raw materials, all on her own. Wang Yin made some adjustments and assigned tasks to the AI. He nodded in satisfaction. Although the machine's model was somewhat different from the usual work or combat types, after system tuning, it was barely usable. Truly, it was a core technology of the Sky Spirit clan, an incredible super worker capable of replacing 5 people. He stretched lazily, feeling quite happy. Now that he had full control over Million, he no longer needed voice commands. With just a thought, he could give instructions. He took the big fox's hand and told the machine to follow him. The two of them prepared to leave. Soon, they arrived home. The mechanical body immediately attracted everyone's attention. Even Zhuohua circled around it, feeling very curious. Wang Yin and the others explained in simple ways that it was just a tool for work. But little Bingshan and little Cake, the 2 mice, didn't understand these details. They only knew that a new big sister had come to the house. Little Bingshan tugged on Wang Yan's pants and asked curiously, Master, what's this big sister's name? Does she not like talking?" Wang Yin lowered his head, resting his chin on his hand, and thought for a moment. He really needed to give her a name, but what should it be? A sudden idea flashed through his mind. He remembered something and clapped his hands, making a decision. He looked down at little Bingshan and replied, "This big sister's name is Jiplier. Let's call her Little G from now on." Hua Yu seemed not to hear clearly and suddenly asked, "Little what, meow?" Wang Yin. Million's eyes shimmered, and she looked up at Wang Yin. Her gaze filled with curiosity as she asked, "Are you sure you want to name partner model 0348 as Jiplier?" Wang Yin nodded lightly, his voice firm. Confirmed. In Wang Yan's view, the words partner model 0348 in the control panel were replaced with Jiplier, completing the renaming. This also put an end to a worry of his. The mechanical body didn't need rest. It only needed some food to keep it powered. It could work non-stop, making it a super worker. In the future, the household's development would progress much faster. After a few ordinary days, Wang Yin built a simple wooden shelter for the mouse family, so they wouldn't have to sleep outdoors. After several days of rest, Bai Guo was able to do some light work, such as cleaning and spinning thread. She was very diligent and quick at her tasks. Compared to the little red-haired mouse at home, Bai Guo was much more capable. Wang Yin also compared Ji and Bai Guo and noticed that Ji seemed a bit larger than Bai Guo. The whole Bai Guo family was quite small. Both mice were 11 years old, but only about 1 meter tall. Bai Guo was an adult mouse, about 1.4 meters tall. However, Ji was different. Her height of about 1.5 meters made her one of the shorter among her sisters, but compared to Bai Guo's family, she was quite big. Wang Yin guessed that maybe Ji had developed faster and grown quickly. No, that might not be right. The more likely explanation was that Ji and Bai Guo's family were different types of mice. This was the most reasonable guess. After several days of saving points, Wang Yin finally accumulated 5,000 points. He took a deep breath, happy that with this, the cotton thread in the house could be turned into many pieces of cloth. The little animals no longer had to wear only animal skins to keep warm. The quality of life in the house improved greatly. Wang Yin just tried using the weaving machine and quickly understood how it worked. It wasn't very hard to use, though it was a bit slow. Still, it was better than nothing. Recently, since there wasn't much work to do, the house's cotton thread was plentiful. The weaving process started smoothly, but since the thread wasn't dyed, the fabric was a dull yellowish white and not very dirt-resistant. To dye the cloth, plant dyes are usually used. But since Wang Yin tried in the cave and didn't find any good dye plants, he decided to wait until spring. For now, they would sew some white cloth and animal skins to get through the winter. After receiving the passive reward of a small bell, Wang Yin fully remembered how to make clothes and weave fabric. However, knowing how to do something was different from actually doing it. Wang Yin realized he couldn't handle this task himself. However, just because he couldn't do it, doesn't mean others can't. Jipliel has very strong work skills. She can clearly see everyone's body measurements just by scanning once. Plus, she works tirelessly day and night. Even plain white cloth can be combined with animal skins to make beautiful warm clothing. The white tiger leather, after some processing, was turned into a large cloak by Jipliel. It kept out the cold very well, though it was a bit heavy. When worn, it looked like a mountain eagle, giving a very impressive appearance. After working overnight, with non-stop labor, they finally made 2 sets of cotton clothes for Yoli and Zhuohua. Now, the members with fighting ability could go outside. Wang Yin also thought that since there wasn't much work to do now, it would be good to go hunting and gather more food and leather for the family. At first, Wang Yin took Ying Luo, Yoli, and Zhuohua with him. They were mainly hunting fierce beasts. But after 2 days of wandering, they hardly saw any fierce beasts, not even common wild animals. They only caught small rabbits and a wild badger. It seemed more like a family outing than a hunt. Strange, why haven't we seen any fierce beasts? I thought they were all driven down from the mountains. Why haven't we seen a single one? Wang Yin wondered silently. Could it be that the mysterious presence had already been dealt with by a skilled person? Maybe the beasts that were driven out of the territory had gone back? If that was true, it would be great news for Wang Yin. A threat was easily removed. But he also wondered, how could it be so quick? Just a few days ago, he saw a fierce beast, and now it was gone? It can now be confirmed that it was targeted by the heavenly path. It's not that the author doesn't want to write, but that those eyes are watching me. I dare not. Also, everyone can tell what the original of the sky spirit race is. If anyone knows, please share in the comments. Carrot. Since there were no more prey to find, Wang Yin changed the hunting team from 4 people to just 2. Only he and Yuli went out together. Currently, since it is winter, there isn't much work at home. Besides normal spinning, weaving, and tailoring, the main task is maintaining the smoke furnace. Regarding building a new house, I estimated the budget simply. If I want to build a small villa for 6 people with complete facilities, I would need at least 200,000 red bricks, not